Whoa, 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 wow. Bad Ashley, that's Bad Ashley. If I was in a band, that would be the band that I would want to be in. Hello, it's Dead Air with Brian Holtzman. It's the 14th of March, and I am very excited about today's show. I really, really am. Today's show is going to be out of control. And it's raining here in downtown Burbank, and you couldn't tell by the coronavirus. The freeway was packed, so evidently some people are not quarantining themselves. They're not staying in. They finally, what this happens when you have to be around your home for long periods of time. Mm-hmm. You find out actually who you're married to, who you're in relation with after a certain time when you can't, isn't that right? And that's why today's episode is going to be crazy, because I've got Roger Nygard, and we're going to talk, after items of interest, we're going to talk about the truth about marriage, which I think is just so apropos. What's the word?
Opportune? Appropriate?
Appropriate for today's podcast, really. So we got three beautiful waitresses from the Comedy Store.
Well, 2.5.
And Roger Nygard, Redban. Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Just fine. Today's we usually do this on Tuesdays, but today's Saturday. We had some scheduling difficulties. Kill Tony appeared on planet Venus, so he was out of town. All right, so let's go ahead and introduce Nelya. Go ahead, Neil. How do you say it? You were here before. Say hello. Come on, tell us.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nelya, Linnik.
Nelya, Linnik.
Great to be
from
here.
Ukraine.
From the Ukraine, yes.
A waitress at the Comedy Store. Actress, comedian.
Actress, comedian. Shit talker, lover.
It's just Ukraine,
lover, hater.
right? It's not the Ukraine. Isn't it just Ukraine?
It's just Ukraine, but I think in America people say the Ukraine because
like
it's
the 405.
It's easier to, it's like some words you have to put the in front of.
Thank you so much, hon. Thank you so much.
Enough of that. Enough history.
Go ahead, hon. Tell us who you are and introduce yourselves.
So I'm Bethany Brown.
Bethany. Oh, I read a book with the main character's name was Bethany.
Oh.
I forget which book that was. Oh, it was a great book.
Did it fare well for her?
Oh, Bethany. That Bethany was the character, was the sister in
Twilight?
The Memory of Running. The best book in the whole wide world, The Memory of Running.
Is that a young adult novel?
And the sister was
coming of age story.
It was the character's name was Bethany. That's a beautiful name. I've never met a Bethany before. Have you, Roger?
Many times.
All right. Okay.
Favorite name.
So
I'll introduce you to a few more. If
that's
help you.
a great name. I probably don't know how to spell it, but Bethany from Comedy Store, waitress. Tell us.
No, she's not.
She's the half.
I'm the half. So I'm actually come from a fashion background.
So you're not a Comedy Store waitress? So dark in there, you can't really see anybody. You know?
I'm there enough.
And you're beautiful, so I figured you'd be a Comedy Store waitress.
That's
you know?
a requirement.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. Well, I'm there enough.
So you're a model? Is that what you're saying?
I used to model. Yes. So.
Semi-nude, nude.
No. I mean, unfortunately, no. So I'm still working on that part of my career.
Bethany, and okay, and then returning. You've been here before. Tell us, our little Filipino slash.
Melissa. I'm a little Filipino
slash Irish. What was?
No, just Filipino.
100%.
I mean, everyone's a little
full
Spanish
breed. Check her papers.
Yeah.
Check her papers. Full breed. Holy cow! This one's gonna go quick. So, tell us your name again.
Melissa.
Oh, that's right, Melissa.
Yes.
Melissa, Bethany, and Nelya. So this is going to be great. And last but not least,
Roger Nygard.
Roger Nygard is an editor. A lot of people don't know what an editor does, but it's probably the most important job on the production of a movie or television show. And correct me if I'm wrong, Roger. You got to take all the footage.
I agree. I'm most important.
And all the footage, and you're the one that has to cut it up and present it as a finished product. Is that right?
Yeah, maybe after the writer. I think you got nothing without a writer. But then the editor is essentially...
I think the writers are overrated a lot, aren't they? You know, they're always... They say,
ones.
oh, you got to say it this way. You got to say it this way. Yeah, but the ad-lib was better than your line, asshole. You know? Oh, the writers are like golfers. They're very temperamental. You got to do it because I wrote it. You do what's the funniest, okay? You do what the frick is the funniest. Isn't that true?
You're not
Struck
wrong.
a
You're not
chord.
wrong. Of course, it's
Yeah,
your show.
there's nothing funnier than an ad lib. But these Fridays, some of them are just so
right.
full of themselves.
You got
I mean, you
editor.
work with them. Are
Brian,
they
your
full of?
stress is making me want to drink more. The LaCroix.
This virus is making me want to drink more. Holy cow! You can't go out. You can't do this. You
This
can't
is
do that.
second gear for Brian, I think.
You can't
He's
do
got
that.
Three
I
more
mean,
gears.
How many people out there have already masturbated like as many times as they possibly can in a given
Yeah.
time of time, and it's
Our
you know,
hands hurt.
I've got to leave myself. Melissa,
You have a hand crack here. I'll massage your hand.
why don't we just cut to the chase? You know, Melissa, take your top off. Just take your top off.
We're
All right,
long sleeves. I'm like already
First
sweating.
10 minutes. She's
She's ready to go.
And you've
in
been
half
on,
an hour.
you've represented the editing responsibilities for Veep, Curb Your Enthusiasm. You're working on the Comedy Store.
It's called The Store now. That's the title, working title, The Store.
The store,
so
and with
awesome.
About the
Mike
Comedy
Binder
Store. Yes.
coming out in perhaps
End of the
October.
year, or mid end of the year. Yes.
Well, you know some waitresses.
yeah.
You could throw us in there.
If you want us to carry a tray.
Oh yes, we want. I want a whiskey sour. So
Comedy,
you've got
yes.
some experience in the business, yeah. And we've known each other what, 25 years, maybe?
I think I saw you do stand up the first time. It was in the last decade, or last century, actually. It was in the 1990s at some point. When did you start doing comedy
Wow.
at the Comedy Store?
You're old, Brian.
I got picked up as a paid regular in 1994, and 5 years before that, I was trying to get in.
Yeah, so, and when did we shoot our real estate pilot? I think that was in the late 90s or early 2000s.
Do you have any clips
2003.
from that?
No, 2004.
There's
I bet
some
it's
clips.
2004, around there. So I've known you since around, turn of the century.
I still do that joke only because you're a big fan of that joke about the Mexicans. You know, when Mexican
joke?
women are pregnant, you can't tell. I mean, they're just beautiful, beautiful women. They could be 9 months pregnant and flat as a board. They come to the disco, drop a kid in the toilet, and come out and win the dance contest. What white woman is going to do that? They're too busy complaining about pickles
have
and
heard
ice
that
cream,
joke.
right? Bethany, we didn't get your nationality. What was your nationality?
I'm a
I'm not a racist, but I like to know who I'm dealing with on the
nationality that would
podcast.
make
You know,
me an American, right?
full breed. What?
Full breed.
No. Your nationality.
Your race?
My heritage, yes. So I am Spanish, Irish, German, English, and French.
So your mother worked in a cat house, and your father was a sailor or a merchant marine or something. That's a lot of different
Mixtures.
Listen, my
semen.
family
Can I say
got it.
semen without getting arrested?
I mean, what can I
What
say?
a beautiful combination. It makes the Filipino look like
It's called
dead
hybrid.
wood. How you doing, Nelya? Are you over there? Nail her! Nail her! Nail her! All right, what we do here on this podcast, you're all free to leave
I
at any
tried,
time.
It didn't work.
Oh my God! What a bunch of aren't they beautiful faces? This is going to be a great episode if we can get it off the ground. Now listen, what we're going to do is some items of interest, but I definitely want to get to this movie because it's just. Did you get a chance to see it?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
No.
Oh man, we all have our favorite.
Did you get a
character
chance to
already.
see it?
This morning.
And what did you think of the movie?
Oh, I loved it. I
Oh,
loved it.
unbelievable!
Good
Did you get to see it,
reminders.
Bethany?
I did.
You good? And how about Nelya? Did you see it, honey?
I saw it twice. Well, no, 1.5 times. These are so good.
She had to go back for more.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! So everybody saw the movie. We're going to talk about the movie after the a
Couldn't
few
get
items
enough.
of interest because
The truth about marriage.
the items of interest are very, very integral,
Integral?
integral part of the podcast.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And
I am glad someone's speaking
and I
English
like
here
them.
still.
So you're free to leave at any time if you get offended at any time. You're free to chime in with any of the items of interest at any time, and we'll just see how it goes.
Can we also be offensive?
Of
I like that
course.
there's a bottle
Yeah.
opener but no beer. Where's the beer?
Where is the beer?
You girls didn't bring any.
We didn't bring anything.
It's
this
after
time.
12.
It's after.
Oh, I see you got a
Oh,
little.
we don't have
I
to
see
wait
you're
for
wearing.
noon.
It's like a cut.
Ooh, you have a belly
Yeah,
ring? Belly button ring? I didn't know that.
Ever since I was 18.
A cum
Oh,
catcher.
show us. That's
It is a cum catcher.
A little
And
bubble.
I have a scar because I got my
too much cum in there.
Wow.
too much cum in here.
Wow.
No, 'cause my
You got to speak in the mic, honey. We can't hear all your dirty mouth with that. You don't speak in the mouth.
I wanted to make a public service announcement not to get IUDs because I had one and it broke through my uterus into my abdomen and I had to have like a surgery. That's why I have a little scar on my belly
That's the
button.
internal birth control, right? Like the implant.
Yeah,
birth
it's like
She almost
it's like a
died.
little T that's supposed to. It's like Great Wall of China that separates the sperm or something.
Is that
Right.
rare? Is that rare? Or?
I think it's
The only
more common
sperms
than
that get
they
through
say.
are the Mexican ones. They know how to
Yeah,
go
they-
over the wall
those
pretty
are
good.
the-
But
You
the
need
white
to-
ones just stand there and go, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I can't do anything. I'm not qualified to fix anything. I don't know anything. I'm just white trash.
It's a good thing I wasn't banging any Mexicans.
Oh,
'cause-
my God.
You gotta dial back on penis size, maybe.
Measure
You know?
first.
Yeah.
Bring it
Priority.
Measure twice, cut once.
Anyway.
All right, let's go right ahead with the items of interest. It's,
like Roger.
After the World Health Organization urged against saying that people are transmitting coronavirus, infecting others, or spreading the virus, because the wording assigns blame. Instead, we should refer to people acquiring the virus.
Oh God.
So they're telling us how to
there's
speak
PC
now.
everywhere.
I'm
PC
telling
this,
you, they're
PC
just
that.
pulling the culture right from the asshole right down.
Let us just have fun with this deadly
Oh
virus
my
for
God! If somebody's got it,
Let's
they
be
got
rude
it.
with it, okay?
Whose profile was briefly raised when Mike? I don't want to read about that. I don't want to read about that. Some of these I highlighted, and then I
Some are
decided.
of no interest.
Here's one. A New Jersey couple says their Catholic church is refusing to give their son Holy Communion because he's autistic.
That's fucked up.
That even got a response from the editor who doesn't have a response about anything. He's seen it all. He doesn't make him show emotion.
It seems unfair.
Wow, you've got a cut. That's like a cut off. What do they call that, Melissa?
Half top, crop top.
Crop top,
Portray them
Melissa.
as liars.
Wow, a church is turning down an autistic.
But the church told the Linguinis that because Anthony is largely nonverbal and
Jersey.
cannot express, forgiveness for his sins, he cannot receive the sacrament. It is absurd, said
How old is the
Anthony
kid?
Nunn. My son is a child of God. Well, in this case, honey, I'm going to have to say no. Your child is the devil incarnate.
That's not what they used to think in the Middle Ages.
Hey, that's uncalled for.
No, I
man.
added that. That wasn't in the item. I
Are
added
there
that.
any forests nearby where we can just leave the kid?
It's like the old days.
look at
That's what
this.
they would have done.
Look
Yeah,
at
the
this.
back
Did
back
I
in the
just-
day, they would have
Hey.
beat him.
And
I
if he
didn't
survives,
disappoint you,
then
huh?
if he
Look at
survives-
these beautiful, beautiful girls.
Plenty of time
huh?
left. Plenty of time.
I got
he
rope
survives,
and
he
duct
starts a
tape
whole
and
new
plastic
country.
bags in the car.
I'm prepared for all.
They better be fashionable
we like
plastic
these
bags.
things.
We're ready for
We like
adventure.
the rope and the duct tape, not the plastic bag.
Here's one.
They're gonna use it on you, Brian.
I want it. I want it. I want it. Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
You bought your favorite type. Got it.
While delivering a speech in Los Angeles about wellness and the importance of balance in life, Oprah Winfrey lost her balance and fell off the stage. The stage is in the hospital now, recovering from extensive damage.
The stage.
They say the stage will never be the same again and will have to be replaced.
Oh, here it is.
Look at her. You know, she's just too much. She can't. She doesn't have enough attention. Now she wants to fall off the stage. I need more attention. I don't have enough attention. I'm Oprah Winfrey, and I can't. And I need more. Who's this character? Oh, what's up? Oh, wow. Oh, America's most
She just
funny
tripped.
videos.
I thought it was like stairs. She just like tripped over nothing.
Everybody
over her own
falls
feet.
down at some point.
So when you
Especially
finish,
Minnesota, where there's
not?
ice everywhere.
so after you finish
There's no
editing
ice
it,
on
you have.
that stage, Roger. No what you're saying.
Oh, that's
Whoa.
That's Redban. Isn't he great? Isn't he great? That's Redban.
Oh shit.
So after you finish editing it, do you have to get approval, or do they just go with whatever you do?
80% is probably what I thought. In 20%, they'll change it.
So she fell off the stage.
She fell on the stage.
It
Not off the
is
stage.
Muse, the 66-year-old
She just
lady.
tripped.
Yeah,
You-
looks like she
She
just
tripped on her
tripped.
pants or something.
You
I
would
think.
prefer not to fall, but now
Yeah.
I've fallen. and the problem is you can't. Oh, goo! She really just bashed.
Really,
her.
she really,
Oh,
she really fell.
there's nothing there. She tripped
Ow.
on nothing.
That's what I'm saying. She
That's
tripped
a
over her own
slick
feet.
floor, though. That's super slick.
Okay.
Yeah.
She overcompensated.
At least she's still having fun, though.
A man with a
she
tattoo
has
on his
to.
forehead reading "Crime Pays" has been arrested and jailed in Indiana after leading police on a car chase for the second time in 3 months. Donald Murray, 38, I think he'd grow up by that time, 38, was slapped with a raft of charges after his latest pursuit. In addition to those held over from the first, when he sped away from cops. Oh, my God. Crashed into a tree and fled on foot. You know, he should be hard to spot, said Lieutenant so-and-so and so-and-so. Look at this guy. That's an outlaw right there.
I mean,
Jesus.
How'd you like to bring him home to your mother, huh? Ma, look, I want you to see this scumbag I met at the bar. After he has sex with me, he's going to kill everybody in the house and rob the family jewels.
There's
Come on
something-
in.
so
Something
disgusting.
exciting about him, though, right?
Jeez.
No, zero
No.
excitement for me.
His ears are too fucking... I don't want to talk
I
about
don't know.
it.
His
Jeez.
If you like Bad
has, like-
Boys, it's advertised
he
right
has
on his head.
While we're
Yes.
ovulating, we want the bad boys.
Bad boys.
yeah.
Oh, you're talking
yeah.
about the
Documentary.
film. Why don't
I
we all
guess-
just
I
get
guess
naked
none
here
of
and
us
talk
are
about the
ovulating
movie?
right now. None of us found him attractive. We're like,
Yeah, that's
gross.
true.
Truth about marriage.
Truth about marriage. Just a sneak
Oh my
peek.
God! Wait, scroll down. Look at that guy's face.
In a couple weeks,
Whoa,
he might be a good option.
that's ugh.
Wow.
That's a little bit much.
That's
Yeah.
too much.
Slightly, a little too much. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, because
But
But if you're on the right drugs, I think you could be hot.
He's ready.
there's got to be a counterpart. There has to be someone
Exactly.
to receive what he has to give.
there's someone who will love that. There's someone who
You
loves
just have to
that.
Right.
keep searching the world over.
Find your soulmate who's equally as insane.
Who maybe did the same thing to his or her face too, and
Yeah.
Or maybe the lower half.
Is this a Brazilian rapper?
Oh, this is one of the songs
Don
from
Blanquito.
The Truth About Marriage.
What's his name? The Brazilian.
Don Blanquito.
did you end up like partying with him and stuff? He seems
Like
like
he
a
give
fun
himself
party.
his own
He was
name.
my buddy. Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah?
hung out, had a great time in Copacabana.
Really? I liked how there was like
Copacabana.
a lady laying on the bed with her ass out.
And you're
when
just
he
talking
was-
about how much he likes big butts.
Here's another interesting animal story, Redban. I know that you're an animal lover from way back.
Are you keeping the music on?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. It's dead air. Sorry. Don't know what we're doing.
There's no stopping Don Blanquito.
Technical difficulties.
I think
Where we at?
it's a virus now, and there's
Done.
no getting rid of it.
Done. D-O-N-E. Done. A dog with an off-kilter face named Picasso has become a social media darling for his resemblance to the famous artist. The 3-year-old pit bull Chihuahua Panoramium. This sounds like one of you. Sounds like I don't want to butcher your name.
Bethany?
Bethany. Oh, I've never met a Bethany. Just in that book.
Bethany's are the best.
That's the coolest name in the world. That's
Doesn't-
parents who are thinking. You know what do you want to name your daughter? Something better, right? I gotta watch what I say sometimes. You know, I have to stop myself. You know.
No, never.
It's too late for that.
Never stop yourself.
So it's got a crazy, crooked face. That's not it. The 3-year-old
That's a cute
pit
face.
called Bad Parian Mix was born with a reary mouth, a condition that slants the nose to the right and its jaw to the left. It's not painful, and its adoptive owner,
Picasso, you said?
Lisa,
Yes.
said Picasso is still do all the things other dogs can do, as well as produce amazing young.
Oh no. Oh my God.
That's an overbite, huh? Whoa! Whoa!
That's
my God.
That's mutation.
It was born like that?
That's not the one.
That's real. That's not real.
Have to be honest here. This is an honest podcast. That's not the dog.
Still works.
Is it that one?
There it is. Redban.
That's less upsetting.
And
than
that's
the
still,
other
this is
Oh,
still
no.
really cute though.
I would have took that dog back
What
to the
is
kennel.
wrong with you? How's it
one.
cute?
You can get that fixed.
Both? No, you can't.
I think that's still kind of
you
really
It looked
cute.
like
but you
somebody
probably have to
stepped on
rub
his
it.
face.
Why would you
Oh,
fix it?
All the
I
dog
know.
needs is
It
some
looks-
reconstructed.
All the
surgery.
dog needs is some love.
Oh,
Yeah, just make
All
it
that dog needs is a shovel to its face.
it looks like
Acceptance.
Oprah slipped on his
Oprah
face.
fell on the dog. Oprah fell on the dog. All this, Redban, is all the sound okay?
Yeah.
It just looks like his
so
nose is
cute,
falling
actually.
down.
You would love him if he was your dog.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right now, we would all be like, oh, and look at his eyes. They're still
So-
little
That's
puppy
the kind of
eyes.
dog you come home, you get drunk, put on a wife beater, and just start beating the shit out of it, you know? So this is number 17, huh?
Move his face into
This
place.
is episode number 17, if anybody's counting. Are you okay?
I'm dying.
Are you girls are all okay? No women problems or anything?
Not
yet.
yet.
I mean, we don't have
just,
a
you know-
job right now, so.
Oh, that's not what I was talking about. You know, if
But
you
not,
wanna-
that's not women problems.
Yeah, the comedy store's
The whole
closed.
comedy
for
store
weeks.
problem.
Fine woman.
Nobody can
problem.
go out.
What's your definition?
Well, yeah, what are women problems?
Yeah.
Did I smear my
This
You
one
mean
is-
like was any of us on our period?
That's what I was
Let's
referring
check and
to.
find out.
Just,
No.
Is
Only
anybody?
one.
That's
Way to
not a
find out,
problem.
John.
That's a good
Not
thing.
yet, but I did buy tampons yesterday to be safe.
It's a good
What
sign.
In case.
Just in case.
I told Nelya
Woo.
just bleed
Oh,
out.
Hey, you guys got to
Yeah.
watch out for all the talking. There's like 5 conversations going on right now.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Brian.
Britain's angriest man has been sending opinionated letters to his social newspaper every day for the past 42 years. Bernie Carroll, 70, originally focused his obsessive ramblings on the Liverpool City Council, but soon expanded to topics like competitive eating, lip filters, and doggy poo bags. He says he knows the 15,000 letters he's written over the years, 3 or 4 of which are published each week, don't lead to actual change, but they nevertheless help him cope with all the anger he has. He used to write his letters by hand and mail them, but says, I'm reading like a special needs adult right now. I'm sorry.
Like Trump reading a prompter.
Yeah.
Yeah, every episode I read differently. It's horrible. And he says writing them as emails has made being angry more affordable.
Have you tried writing letters?
No, I like to write I like to write postcards. Yeah, letters are kind of.
I thought you were gonna say I like to write Post-it notes. That's
is
all
a good
you're
one.
capable of, just like one small paragraph.
This
2
is a real
sentences
good
max.
one. You know, this is a real good one. I'm just going to touch base on it. This is
This is the best one.
no, they're all bad. From critics to suburbs, rural America, the cost of housing has far outpaced increases in salaries. Home prices are growing as twice the rate of wages, and there are fewer homes on the market than in any years since 1982. The single-family house with a garage and front lawn remains a bedrock of the American dream, and it recedes from many people's reach. And it's even worse if you're renting. Nearly half of renters are cost burden, meaning they spend at least 30% of their income on rent. That's probably the only reason a man would want to be a woman. You know, you could say, hey, I'll pay half the rent, and the other half, hey, I'll come over later and I'll pay the other half of the rent. You know what I mean? Kind of.
I would add multiple.
You have to repeat yourself.
I'm not going
What
to.
do you mean, Brian?
Anyway, the rents are out of control. It's unbelievable. That's why there's so many homeless people. I mean, how can you solve that problem? Is there a problem? Is there an answer to solve that problem?
Fewer people.
Yeah, I mean, I think the
Corona's killing
government's
them off.
ahead, one step ahead of us.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, that's controversial. You guys get it, yeah? No?
Yeah.
Meaning the government's killing everybody with this virus?
Look at these beautiful.
Natural. Mother Nature is.
I'm speculating that, yes.
There's a theory that it could be a terrorist that, like,
Well, China's saying it's the U.S.
really?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
we brought it to
I
them.
think it.
A lot of things are possible. I mean, we don't know for sure, but
I think it's just.
2 South
You think it's an
Carolina
accident?
school districts have become the first to install airport-style body scanners to screen arriving students for weapons. Last year, there were at least 45 bad things that happened. We like to keep an upbeat podcast. We don't want to go into some of the more serious blemishes of the culture. Isn't that right, Redban?
yeah, I like
Too
that
late.
the dog's face is still on the screen.
I like that dog.
Look at that! Come here,
This is the
Picasso!
star of the show tonight.
Come here, Picasso! I should have just. Come here, you little ugly mutt. Come over here. Let me put this cone on your head and leave it on.
I think he's cute. Is it
I
me?
Oh, come on. How could you look at that? If you wake up in the middle of the night and see
Poor
that?
thing. I'm taking a
I
time
know.
out.
Ugly. He's cute.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that.
Now, this one is about...
Character.
This
That character.
You have to go?
Bathroom break.
Okay.
All right, one down. You did it, Brian.
She's sneaking out.
This one is about a crook. This one is really, really something else. Former Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh, P-U-G-H, was sentenced to 3 years in prison last week for defrauding. This is for you because you've got a book that's going to be connected to this film.
Yes.
So this
It's
is
out.
about a woman. Did you bring a copy with you?
Yes.
Good. You want to set it up on the table? Or do you
It's a
want to
little
keep
too late for that. We want you to bring that up before we started.
No, we're good. No. Where's the book?
Oh, it's in the car.
Oh, you're too funny. Is it really in the car?
I can put out a DVD. How about that?
Ooh, yeah, let's see.
You left the book in the car? That's not like somebody like
was
you.
raining
How long
out.
you been working in Hollywood? You left the
gonna-
book in the car?
It's going to get wet.
There. Okay.
Here's a Blu-ray.
Ooh,
Yeah.
The Truth About Marriage.
look at that. That's great.
Oh, and I
Let's
brought
see
my
that cover.
prior documentary,
Which one's that?
The Nature of Existence.
Oh.
It's about existentialism.
I thought we would.
Also comedy.
Okay.
Roger,
Comedy.
cool.
I thought we were just going to talk about The Truth About Marriage.
Just in case
I
it
wasn't.
comes
I
up.
wasn't. I didn't do any research on this one.
Yeah, well, we'll have to
I
handle
don't
it.
know. If I can, what do you? Okay. Well,
Big monkey
do the best
wrench.
I can.
Big monkey wrench.
I'll do the best I can about that. I wasn't prepared to talk about the
My whole life
nature
is
of existence.
The entirety of existence you're not prepared to talk about?
You came over my house once. And it was too funny. That gentleman has passed away. My neighbor Larry.
Yeah, it was
And you
complaining.
said there's like there's enough. No, there was wind chimes. Redban.
Hanging off of his place.
And
Right?
he went and he took them down without asking, gorilla style. And he
Who
said,
gets wind chimes?
he said, "Isn't there enough noise? Isn't there enough noise in the world that you want to have
Permanent. It's permanent, noise. There's always wind.
I agree, man. I don't get wind chimes at all.
Yeah, they're for
You're welcome, Brian.
people that want more attention. It's like Oprah Whitney falling down. You know?
Anybody else making too much noise in your neighborhood? Call me. I'll take care of it.
So this woman is just such a crook. She's sentenced to 3 years in prison last week for defrauding a hospital system and the city through massive sales of a children's book series. She was elected in 2015, pleaded guilty last November to using her self-published Healthy Holly books to net more than $850,000 illegally. She sold 100,000 copies in a no-bid deal for $500,000 to the University of Maryland Medical System, on whose board of directors she sat.
Hey, she's an artist.
Oh. She used other sales to launder illegal campaign contributions and evaded taxes. She failed to print thousands of promised books, double sold thousands more, and left many copies in a warehouse. She also sold. She also stole all the toilet paper from City Hall and took paper towels. Hey, look,
Did she steal any antibacterial soap? That's gonna be my next crime.
ladies and gentlemen, you see this? This is on sale. I'm going to sell this for $750. This is the last roll of toilet paper in Southern California. So Americans are afraid to wipe their ass with their hands like they do in Asia. No offense.
Water.
Yeah, you just. That's what the whole world is wiping with a little bit of water, and they clean themselves. Yeah. And they're running out and buying toilet paper like they can't touch their hands to their poo hole.
You know what works really good? I found out duct tape. Try it.
I will not. I'm not out of toilet paper. You know, I don't need to try it yet.
Get a little Gorilla Tape.
They're saying coffee filters are what's working now. Did you hear that?
For toilet paper?
Nail her. Did you hear that?
No, but that makes sense.
People have run out already that badly that they're already trying
Well,
other
they
things.
eat like garbage. They eat every 5 minutes. They're shoving food in their face. They're pooing like 4 times a day.
guess
They're
people are
Americans.
stressed. People are stressed
Fat,
eating.
dumb, and happy, and shitting. They're like one cell amoebas. They eat and they fucking defecate, and that's all the fuck they do. And watch Netflix, and that's the existence of their existence. I think.
It's simple physics.
So this lady is just a real bad one. She failed to print thousands of promised books, double sold thousands more, and left many copies in a warehouse. At her sentencing,
Sentencing.
I got the virus. I got the coronavirus.
Is that what,
The corona
one of the symptoms? Dyslexia?
It's going to have to get in line for you, I think,
I'm
behind
talking-
all the other viruses you've got.
If that dog could talk, it would talk like me. I beg for forgiveness. In addition to her prison term, she's 69 years old. I like these old crooks, you know. She must forfeit nearly $670,000, including a house she renovated with book sales revenue. She agreed that all unsold Healthy Holly books will be destroyed. What a story of crime, huh?
And success.
And success, yeah. Capitalism.
What do you think about that, Nelya?
I think it's great. I mean, it sucks that it was illegal, but okay, not great. Okay, crime is not great, but to me,
Thank you so much, honey. Thank you so much for your input.
Right, I want to make a point. I think
go.
it's admirable when someone can find such crazy loopholes in the system and make so much money. To me, it's like, way to go, you. I'm glad you got caught, but that's so badass.
I think that it's
beautiful.
It's
Look
white
at these
collar
beautiful
crime.
girls in the studio. I love it.
Right. Everyone loves a really good white collar crime story.
Right.
That is very true. I agree.
Are you having a good time so far, Roger?
I can't believe it.
Time of his.
You didn't know I had a podcast, huh?
No, I didn't expect it to be like this at all.
What did you expect?
Just you. Surrounded by beautiful women. Who does that?
No, listen. Listen to this. This is a great story. This is a this is a real item of interest
You
for
keep
me.
building these up beforehand, which might be a mistake.
This is one of my favorite charities. This is the one that I contribute to because I don't think anything is more important than. Anyway,
What is it?
David.
Tell us.
I know, the suspense.
David Nort has seen humanity at its worst. Said so and so and so and so and so and so.
Unpronounceable names.
As we don't bother with the details on this podcast. As a humanitarian war zone surgeon for nearly 30 years, this guy's been helping people in war zones for 30 years. The British doctor has treated the victim of barrel bombs in Syria, snipers in Bosnia, a child rape in Sudan. He once removed a detonator from a woman's leg. Another time, the nurse standing next to him was killed by a bullet. Conflict work was the only thing that made me feel alive, he says, describing the experience as joyous. The key to staying safe in the middle of a war zone, says the doctor known as the Indiana Jones of surgery, is developing ties to the embattled people in these communities. You can't stop bullets or bombs, he says, but you can develop a relationship with people wherever they, whereby they don't want you to die. Or be in a situation
This is going to be a good one.
What was the charity?
in whereby
You're losing
your
the
life
girls.
is a risk. I've lost them already. He's treated the consequences of human beings at their monstrous.
I'm not going to help you with this one.
You've got to.
You should have brought a reader, Brian.
But
Isn't there an article in there about fashion? Get the girls back.
I want to know why they did away with the miniskirt. Who's the asshole who said, we don't want the miniskirt anymore? Who is the guy behind that? It was the most popular women's garment of the 60s and early 70s, and then all of a sudden it was gone.
Here we go. Better.
Miniskirt is like...
Ooh, these on the top. You and I are so
I mean, when a woman is wearing a
I like how you put
miniskirt
Asian miniskirt.
and you drop something on the floor and you go to pick it up, you can see the world.
Stock photos.
Bethany's going to bring the miniskirts back, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, working.
Bring back the miniskirt.
Miniskirt.
You know why? It's because
Oh baby.
look at it's
That's a
because
mini
you know who's
dress,
making the
okay.
clothes, Redban. It's all these gay guys making the clothes.
Fabulous.
It's fabulous. Let's cover up the women. You got to expose women for the beauty that they exist. My God, stop the miniskirt.
I love women's legs.
God.
Hey, Melissa, we went to the Britney Spears Museum.
Oh yeah,
That was cool. We
were
all wore
wearing
mini
some
skirts.
Mini skirts,
Pretty hot.
Did you all bang your head against the wall like her? While you
Shave
were
your
there?
heads.
He's treated the consequences. There are some people who use their power to make things better and have a positive effect on people's lives, he says, and there are others who use power to destroy everything around them. But he still believes the majority of humans are good. Isn't that a nice story? This is about a doctor who saves lives for 30
I think it's
years.
amazing. He deserves.
Doctors
whatever
Without Borders is
honor
what
we
it's
can give
called.
Oh, I like Doctors Without. Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
me
okay.
too.
Full circle.
Liberal political commentator Chris Matthews announced he was retiring and walked off the set of the MSNBC show this week after a female guest accused him of making creepy comments to her in 2016. The network and Matthews, 74, reportedly agreed that he should step down. Journalist so-and-so and so-and-so, Laura Bassett, said last week that while getting made up
What did he say?
to appear on the show, Matthews, who's married, asked, "Why haven't I fallen in love with you yet?" What is so bad about saying that to a woman, even if he's married? Who cares? Why haven't I fallen in love with you yet? That's a compliment.
Right.
That's a freaking compliment,
That's
right,
not
Redban?
that bad.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
It's harmless.
Yeah.
These women are crazy. Why don't they just get operations, become Barbie dolls? No genitalia.
Maybe he was pinching his nipples when he said it, though.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe he was jacking off while he said
Yeah,
it.
maybe you had
Yeah, we don't know all the details. I guess.
Maybe you're right, girls. Maybe you're right.
I think it's a problem with reading the room. You know, people don't read the room sometimes very well, and they say things that are inappropriate, but might be appropriate in another situation. Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
Especially
So
people-
you have to. You're saying you have to walk around on eggshells with people, and I'm not. I don't think anybody wants to do that.
body language. Look at the body language.
Yeah.
Let me see your body language. Come on,
Sometimes
girl.
it's not what you say, it's how you
How
say
you
it.
say
The
it.
Let's
tone.
get
The tone is all
physical.
important.
Physical. I wanna get physical. And then he also said
Crowns.
he saw the woman dressed up real nice, and he said, "You going out tonight?" What's wrong with
That's
that?
not bad.
That's not bad at all.
So he's gone.
He's fishing. He's fishing for a response. Is
Yeah.
what he's doing, and he's looking if he gets some feedback, like, "Oh, maybe
This
I'm gonna
movie's
get
really
something."
changed you, haven't you? Your whole
It's male.
this whole
it's like-
movie's changed you, man.
It's like the sperm chasing the egg. Men chase women, and so
Constantly.
women put up barriers, and men have to keep pushing, knocking, looking for a way in. And if
See
she's
it.
receptive, she gives you signals. If she's not receptive, you back off.
Do you
Yeah.
feel the signals?
I feel positive signals.
You guys have great signals.
All
Yes.
around.
We like to open the doors for our.
Good cast call.
Metaphorical.
Casting call.
Mick Jagger's going to be in a new movie called the Burnt Orange Heresy.
What?
The burnt orange.
It sounds like they're just
Yes,
describing
that's
his
Mick
skin.
Jagger in a supporting role, but his new art fraud thriller works best as a kind of screen test for its paired co-stars, says so-and-so and so-and-so. So-and-so and so-and-so. So if you Mick Jagger fans who haven't seen the concert 400 times, how many times can you watch him say, "Stop me up! If you never get enough! Stop me up! Enough! Go see somebody else. Idiots. Let's go see the Rolling Stones for the 400th time at $900 a seat, you know? You know, people don't know what to do with their lives.
Plenty of artists out there. You're right.
Stupid. Elephants, here's an article about elephants. They can sense when another elephant passes away. They do elephant dances.
Elephants are smart.
Oh, that's really sad.
They
Yeah.
have like a.
Have
Mars-
you seen elephants painting? Have you seen that video when they give elephants paint and a paintbrush and a canvas?
No.
They can paint better than a human or as good.
Honestly,
What? I want to see.
My friend has one of those. Like he went.
Shocking.
their video-
They're brilliant. Elephants have their brains are huge, right? And they don't have prehensile hands, so they don't have a language and that they can pass culture down
Yeah.
to. But they still are brilliant as far as and mammals go.
Yeah, they still shit in the woods.
We did too.
We're
Not-
going to be doing
I've
that.
never seen an elephant at the bank cashing a check. I mean, they're still animals, okay?
There we go. Yeah, not long ago you were shitting in the woods. Your ancestors were shitting in the
Wait,
woods.
you mean you guys?
Oh, that's the thing. Look.
He's drawing a tree.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, my friend actually went to this park or wherever it is. I forget where it's at, and he actually got one of these, and he has it hanging on his wall, and it's signed and everything by the elephant.
You got to give him a bucket of peanuts.
I never knew that, actually. I would totally go get
Start
an
me
elephant
up.
painting.
I'm never gonna start.
That's how they raise
Start
money
me
to help
up.
pay for the elephants for the care and feeding,
I totally
selling their
wanna get an
artwork.
elephant painting. I love that.
This is so great.
And it's drawing
Oh,
a
this is
tree.
wonderful.
No, it'll finish it. It'll be perfect at the end.
Wow, I did not
Can you
know
jump to
that.
the end and see the finished product? You're
Yeah.
not going to believe how. I mean, this elephant paint's better than probably all of us sitting here.
And I bet it's
Wow.
I bet it's very therapeutic for it, and like look, he's just like in the zone.
No Janice today?
No, she's sleeping.
Sick. You can say she's sick.
Oh, no. She
An Asian with the blue red band.
You can say she's got the coronavirus.
Suspect.
His wife is Asian. The Asian invasion.
my wife. Do you ladies look at these elephants and go, I wonder how much of that trunk I can take?
Hey now. Hey, that was Redban. That wasn't me. That was Redban.
No, Redban.
Holy
That would push the IUD somewhere else.
Oh, straight into your brain.
Like
Your
that
throat.
has like a good shape.
Choke on your
you know?
IOD.
There's another video of a woman with large breasts standing next to an elephant. The elephant starts grabbing her boob until she freaks out and runs away.
All right.
Yeah, we gotta see that.
We're gonna find that one.
That is so cool, though. I'm a.
Maz.
Yeah.
It looks like from its butt or like another butt.
behind.
Maybe he was drawing his like lover or something's butt.
So here you go. Watch this.
Oh,
Whoa!
Oh, yeah, she has big boobs.
Oh, baby!
Get it.
Oh my
Oh my
god! That is the best video.
This is the Elephant Channel, ladies and gentlemen.
Elephants are smart.
They like
He
the
wants to get her
boobs.
boobs too.
Oh my God.
It's a new
If
fetish
I
of
were
mine.
an elephant, I would do this.
Right. I'll be grabbing all the dicks.
Oh, Melissa. Start me up.
They have emotions.
That's so cool.
They're sad
Is
when
he trying
someone
to, like,
dies.
tickle
He's
her?
fondling her hair.
Yeah.
Can you fondle hair?
Can we-
Oh, that's. I would be so
You must be great in
traumatized.
the
Oh my
break
God.
room. Oh,
I'm
you're
already,
just
like,
full of
reacting.
information, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm happy to watch this on repeat.
I want to eat lunch with
All day.
Roger. He's
Look
just
at
so
his.
smart.
Sorry.
He's just so smart. Hey, girls, come on, settle down now.
Look at his little.
Come on, if you girls don't settle down, we're gonna put clothespin clips on your nipples now. You don't want that now. Come
I
on.
mean, I knew dolphins had a bad reputation, but the elephant.
Dolphins are also smart.
Very smart.
How come they keep swimming into the net? If the dolphin is so smart, how come they keep swimming into the net? Stupid ass dolphin.
Elephant grabbed me by the pussy, literally. Let's see.
All right.
Is our president part elephant?
All right, let's. I want to finish up the items. that
Okay.
we just, Redban will
Grab
go
me
all
by the
day with
pussy.
this. Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. We're gonna
Stay
use,
away from elephants as well.
we're gonna hook this net up to an explosive device and explode these nets
I
over
think
there.
the new challenge is to tame the elephant.
I don't know. I'm wearing a hazmat suit around elephents.
I'll have to bring
I do not want
next
to be harassed
next
by
week.
a
I'll
dog.
bring in a picture of me with the elephant
so
putting his foot
scary.
on my groin in Thailand.
What?
Is that true?
Hey.
Wait, what
Yeah, I have a photograph.
Did you like it?
I loved it. I loved
put an
every part of
elephant?
it.
You got a foot job.
I got that, not semen, but that stuff that comes out before the semen.
You got pre-cum. Wait, what were you
yeah,
doing
yeah.
in Thailand? I missed the beginning of that. When did you pre-cum?
Actually, I do not want to know what you're doing in Thailand.
What's your next story, Brian?
Mars.
Topic.
Mars has earthquakes. Another reason not to want to go to Mars. They have earthquakes, and
like California.
methane emissions. The oil companies are really lowballing their amount of pollution and bad air that they send
Less
into the.
Earth-like than we thought.
But they don't want to pay. You know, if you dropped a piece of paper on the ground, you'd be fined for littering. But oil companies can pump all this bad air into the atmosphere, and it's okay. So you don't figure.
I'm against it.
Employees at Goldman Sachs.
Me too.
Employees at
Drives me
Goldman
crazy.
Sachs left behind 525 suits and 256 donable. God, I can't speak today.
Donatable?
Donatable items of women's clothing at their old UK headquarters when they moved into a new office last summer. This guy's got all the money. They don't need those suits. Maybe they got lipstick on them. They don't want to bring them home to their wives.
Probably.
Who said probably?
I did.
Have you been jilted? You sounded like a jilted woman. Have you been jilted?
What's jilted?
What happened?
Somebody had sex against your will? Behind your back? Jilted.
Oh, like cheated?
Tell her what jilted means, will you?
Getting dumped.
No, I haven't.
That means getting dumped.
Rejected
I
or
watched-
abandoned?
I watched the documentary last night. It got me jilted.
Federal regulators are
And I heard
finding...
Bethany's work stories.
Here's one for you, Redban.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually.
Federal regulators are fining the four...
I guess I was jilted by my ex.
Yeah, tell us about it.
I'd like to hear Bethany's stories or her work stories.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're
Anybody
gonna.
else?
These are
About the
almost over.
married men
Oh,
gentlemen?
we got the first one who's impatient with items of interest. The first one who's saying, "What's going on here? What the fuck is going on here on this podcast? I don't like the format."
You got Brian reading or Bethany's work story.
I'm gonna get to everybody's story in a minute. This is almost over. Federal regulators are fining the four largest wireless carriers a total of $208 million for selling the location data of customers to third-party people.
Oh, wow.
Leading to several privacy breaches. The largest fine, $91 million, went to T-Mobile for sharing data with more than 80 entities.
Whoa.
I'm against it.
That's T-Mobile, too.
Assholes.
Yeah.
It's too late. The bond door is already open.
They already sold our
It's
information.
all over.
I mean,
But
I'm not
okay,
that
so the government fined them, okay, and the fines, where's this money going? Are they gonna give people, the customers whose information they sold, are they gonna compensate those customers, or is this
No.
just government taking it?
Now, let me read it again. No, someone will get. Yeah, they're going to give customers $25. It's a
Probably
class
if you
action.
file 10 hours of paperwork, which no one will do.
Right.
So
You
we'll
get
go unpaid.
$5.
Yeah. They want your birth certificate, your mother's maiden name.
Yeah.
I tell them my mother's maiden name is Jones now. I'm so sick of the question.
What is your mother's maiden name?
Jerebeck.
Wow.
Well, where's she from?
Yeah, what are we talking here?
All right, the next one. Apple will pay certain iPhone users $25 per phone to settle litigation accusing of it intentionally slowing down older phones, said so and so and so and so and so and so and so. For years,
Ooh,
customers
I agree
had
with that.
contended that their phone's performance has suffered after they installed Apple software updates, particularly after the release of a new iPhone version. In 2017, the company admitted to the slowdowns, which analysts call throttling.
Wow,
Though
they admitted
Apple-
to it.
So Apple
2017.
denied. Oh yeah, these companies are not your friends. They portray themselves on TV commercials like they like you and they love you and they're your
Oh
friends.
yeah, because they want your money.
My brother Jay's like that. He thinks American Express is somehow his friend. These corporations are nobody's friend.
You can't
Jay.
trust anybody except me and Brian.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Redban.
Redban.
Redban's like, I didn't say shit.
What would I do without
They
you?
supposedly slowed down the iPhones, though, because the older an iPhone gets, the battery starts degrading. So they have to slow it down to make it so it works still. Because
Can't you
then,
just get a new battery?
well, that's the problem, that they don't have removable batteries, or they,
Yeah, it's all like
it's a little harder for the iPhone to
You work
replace
for the
battery.
iPhone?
No, I just I've like
Sponsored by the
there's
Apple.
podcasts of me like 5 years ago saying that they did this before anyone else,
He knew. You knew.
Yeah, I knew, but there was a
makes
reason for it,
sense,
and the
yeah.
reason kind of makes sense.
For like the really old ones,
Right.
yeah. But like if it's like the model, like the one right before the new one, then that's suspicious because the battery shouldn't be slowing down already.
Apple could pay up to $500 million. Okay, we're almost done with the items of interest. Car news, the Detroit news. Cars like the new Hyundai Venue are increasingly rare at a time when the average price of a new vehicle sold in the United States is $39,000. Hyundai has just rolled out a tasty little sub-pack crossover that's priced well below the $20,000 mark. As
that's
Mini
nice.
Cooper is cute as it is utilitarian, the Venue is now the lowest priced SUV in America, yet it's peppered with modern electronics, and especially if you opt for the manual transmission. $17,350, the Hyundai Venue. So that's something
You know
to
what's
look
Not
at.
bad.
You know what a manual transmission is called
I almost
now?
touched my eye.
It's the Millennial Anti-Theft Device.
I actually just drove on the freeway with a manual.
You can drive a manual?
Yes.
Wow.
And I went on the freeway. Did I show you a video? No.
No, you told me you were learning.
Yeah, I just did it like last week.
My respect
It was
for you.
Really,
It has
really.
gone
Aren't these girls so
through the
full of
roof.
life?
That's amazing.
God, it's
scary.
great.
It was so scary.
Your
And then I
boyfriend-
went straight from like, wait, what's one? I thought I was going into 5, but I think I went back into like 3.
3.
Yeah, and then I was like
4.
going onto the freeway.
Revving the engine.
Yeah.
Is your boyfriend still alive?
Yeah, he was recording
Damn
me
it!
and laughing.
Not for
And he's
much
like-
longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Driving
I keep
like
driving.
that.
Yeah. It was
Okay,
fun.
here's the tip of the week: how to self-checkout and be a master at it. Choose the
Master what?
self-checkout line at your supermarket or discount store. When you have 15 items or less, beyond that number, it ceases to be the most efficient option. And because the counter space is limited, you'll struggle with bagging. If you're using coupons or loyalty cards, consider asking an attendant if the sequencing will matter. And know that tobacco or other age-restricted items can create delays. When you start scanning purchases, don't try to be faster than the computer system because it needs a moment to recognize each item and calculate the price and discounts. A more deliberate pace can actually speed your checkout. And don't let a pause, curtail, or child touch the bagging area or a coattail. Who has a coattail? What the hell is a coattail?
Brian,
read
why
that
did you choose
magazine?
this article?
Yeah, why did you choose this article?
Don't let a don't
Go
let
shopping with
a, oh,
children often? Is that
Random.
why?
They're
He's not
randomly
excited to tell us.
chosen.
Don't let a purse, coattail, or child touch the bagging area because the system will think you put something there without paying for it. So that's just some tips on how to do self-checkout. A lot of people were doing self-checkout because of the coronavirus. They didn't want to go near people. Then they found when they got there, they didn't know anything about anything. They couldn't wipe their own ass.
I
So,
checked myself out this morning.
What'd you buy?
Self-check?
No, just checked myself.
In the mirror?
Like, did you have to touch yourself or just like visually?
Yeah.
Okay, everything feels good. Now I
Physical
can-
examination.
And those who have everything, don't settle for garage like everyone else. Every sports supercar capsule garage built by so-and-so and so-and-so, an Italian architecture firm, treats your prized vehicles or vehicles as the works of art they are. The design has created custom showrooms that can be stacked in a tower or integrated with your home at a glowing space that flattens the car and puts it behind a wall of glass. What better way to wake up in the morning than with the smell of fresh coffee and the sight of your Ferrari or Lamborghini? $50,000.
Must be nice.
Okay, we're almost done. Here's the ones. This is the poet
What,
section.
You don't know what that's like?
This is the poet section. You don't have an appointments today, do you?
Nothing. No, everything's closed, shut down,
Sometimes
canceled.
sometimes it goes about
What
2
are your
hours.
appointments for? Like work stuff? Like gathering?
He's off on the weekends.
Daily 3 or 4 massages.
Happy endings from the Thai
Check
women.
yourself out and then have people
Salt
check you out.
glow.
Do you
get a
take-
salt glow?
Do you take
You have
Visa?
very nice skin.
I went to Happy Endings place by accident once.
Oh.
They call that a dirty massage.
Let her tell her story.
Did they check your oil?
They checked your oil.
Were you happy with the result?
Oh no! I realized what was happening. I was like, oh no, that's
Oh no.
okay.
Wait, did they start touching you?
Oh my god, yeah.
Ooh.
But they led.
Will you tell Melissa
they,
where
like,
that
led
was?
you all the way up until that point, and so it was really interesting to see how a massage can get you there.
Yeah.
But then, when I think he was going to finish, and I finally caught on to what was happening. It was a guy, and he was probably 88 years old.
Was he Asian?
Oh yes.
I bet he knew exactly what to do, though.
Oh no,
Oh, yeah.
he did. It was unbelievable.
He was looking for the A spot or whatever
I
the
still
letter
don't know
that
if
is.
I regret not letting him finish or not, but and then I was like, was I just taken advantage of? I'm so confused.
I think they thought that's what you were paying for.
I went
You were just
to
providing a
so I
service,
thought that's what I
Bethany.
was doing.
You didn't get your money's worth.
There was a girl
not.
one time, like an Asian girl, and so I was on my stomach and she was massaging my butt. And then when she was pretend these are your legs, right? Whenever she would go by the butt, she would do a little sweep
I love
with
that.
her thumbs,
Do you need me to
Ooh,
help?
under
Like, just do you
area.
have something?
How did,
Very close. Yeah.
And I remember being like, "Whoa!"
how did that make you feel?
I was just confused because it was a really
You
sketchy
didn't
place.
get
You didn't lean into it?
aroused.
I didn't lean into it.
You
No,
didn't back it up.
I should have. I have dreams about
I
this
should've.
now. It's like one of my
You're supposed
A
to
desires.
thoroughly.
regret. It's one of your regrets.
Yeah.
Right, massive regret.
I got a little tense there, but even instead of a blanket, you know when you're at the doctor's, like the paper thing, it was that instead of a blanket, so it was like
That's not.
really weird, like off of Wilshire.
Not enticing.
Yeah, it wasn't
This was downtown LA.
Yours too?
I had just moved
Downtown.
here. And they didn't, I just walked in. They didn't speak any English. And so there's a lot of miscommunications happening.
What did he
If it's
do?
open till 10 p.m., you can guarantee that it's dirty.
That's how you know?
That if there's neon in the
Right,
window.
that should have been a sign.
There's
Bethany,
neon
did
in the
he
window. Oh,
like
that's good to know.
touch your vagina area, or did he get really close, or?
Yeah, so he started taking his like hands and going like
Yeah, talk right into that mic.
and going on the inside, so like on the inside of my thigh, and then touching like I don't know if you caught the lips. I'm not quite sure, and that's when I was like, oh,
Was he
shit.
making noises like this?
That's
what you caught when
At
you
first,
caught on?
I thought, like these people probably get so many people that if you do get someone who's young or whatever, you're probably like, oh wow, like this is a good day,
Yeah,
so I just thought he was
just
you
having
know,
fun.
yeah, like happy that I wasn't some old dude or something, and then I was like, oh wait, this is going
Too far?
too far,
Was
and
your-
I stopped.
Did
him.
your body indicate that you were enjoying it?
So yeah, it was really powerful. Like I knew, I'm like, oh, like
Did
it,
you go
everything
back?
hit me.
Did you go back the next day? Next to
I
that
love
guy?
something here. I think
No,
it's my orgasm.
I did
Can
not
we-
go back.
Big
I
neck.
want the little
day.
short Asian guy. The one I don't forget his name, but he
He's
has
like
a very
88.
short,
He's about
flat
to die.
nose.
That's the one that I
okay.
want.
If he was hot, would you have let him continue?
Oh, that's such a good question. No.
What?
No, I don't think so.
That's the difference between
What if
women
it
I
was
and
a
mean,
hot
I don't
woman?
know.
What if it was a hot woman? Would you feel safer?
All right, let's
Why put a stop to this conversation? Are you insane?
No, I want to
What's
finish.
wrong with you?
I want to finish these damn items of interest, so then we can
Why?
really get back into it. You know. And
That's like saying, I'm about to come.
Guys, I
Wait.
gotta take a bathroom
Yeah.
break. I'm gonna be right back.
Just got Bethany all hot and bothered, remembering that.
wow, you going?
Just gonna go
Great
find her
memories.
vibrator real
Great
quick.
memories.
there's a plunger in there.
Coming up in 2 minutes.
She's real close.
All right, this is the little wisdom and wit section. What exists so that it can be lost and become precious.
What?
Yeah, that's way better than her story.
What what exists so that it can be lost and become precious. Some of them,
What's the
That's
answer?
just a nugget.
some of them we know. Some of them you can decipher. Some of the poets are in first class, and some of the poets are in coach.
So I think, well, read it again. This is what we're learning with this
What?
virus.
What exists so that it can be lost and become precious.
Yeah, like we're
Your
starting-
virginity.
Yeah, virginity. Is that what you said?
You lose it, and then it becomes precious,
Precious,
to
that's
you.
true.
When you
Yeah.
lost it is a very precious thing.
That's true.
Virginity, or like people.
I lost
Or
mine in a Burger
community.
King parking lot.
Community. What was it?
Recent?
Burger King parking lot just the other day.
Which virginity? Anal? You have several
True
virginities.
virginity, because I'm
Yeah.
saving my asshole virginity for marriage.
You must have listened to this
See?
podcast because you're
I'm
you're
helpful.
belittling me, just like the rest of the guests.
It's very subtle, though. It's very subtle. You're not aware of it. That's why it's helpful.
I'm gonna go into the bathroom.
Could have been like
Are
a
you
puppet,
gonna
a puppet
see if
virginity.
Bethany
Do you have
needs
a
any
puppet
help?
fetish?
When Bethany comes back, I'm gonna go in there and smell that toilet seat.
Yeah.
I don't
Don't
know
worry.
if that's right to say. I'm
You
kind of
did just
embarrassed saying it,
smell
but you know
my-
what?
my
It's me
sleep.
too. Can you say that? Can you say I want to
Smell
smell
my
the
sleep.
toilet seat when you're done? Am I fired now? Am I fired because I said I wanted to smell the toilet seat? Oh my
No, what
God!
is this?
It's not hurting
Everything
anyone to smell their
The nature of
pee.
existence.
In our
Okay.
time, political speech and writing are largely the defense of the indefensible. George Orwell. Two errors. One, to take everything literally. I hope she's not in there hanging herself.
She's snapping one off.
Yeah.
She's calling for a cab.
Two errors. One, to take everything literally. Two errors. One, to take everything literally. Two, to take everything spiritually.
You need a balance. That's what you're saying.
Okay, great. Some of these I can't decipher.
The Buddha said always take the middle path. No, avoid the extremes.
Yeah.
The tyranny of a prince is the Orlaki is not so dangerous to the public welfare. You want to read the rest of these, Roger?
I can't wait for Brittany to return.
Read the rest of them.
Bethany.
Bethany, I
Bethany.
mean.
There she is.
There she is, Miss America.
You've been talked about while you were away.
A lot. Can I have some?
man.
Because I'm
Brian
not
wants
gonna
to
judge
go
mine.
in and
Bethany. Actually, I'll do this.
enjoy whatever is
Brian,
behind
go do
there.
it. Go sniff it.
I wanted to just see what was on.
We'll handle things.
The
Don't
secret of dealing successfully with a child is not to be a parent.
That is a good one.
The secret of dealing successfully with a child is not to be its parent. That's a good one. We have all a better guide in ourselves if we would attend to it than any other person can be. We have all a better guide in ourselves if we would attend to it, then okay. The particular charm of marriage is the dialogue, the permanent conversation between two people who talk over everything and everyone till death breaks the record.
That's a good segue.
That is a great segue.
And I
So
think-
yeah,
And that's it. That's it for items of interest.
Nice segue, Brian.
Nicely done.
You flawlessly led into.
And so now we're going to talk about why Roger's here. We're going to talk about the film. I saw it.
All relationships and marriages will be fixed by the time this podcast is over.
naturally.
Bethany, I didn't get to question you as thoroughly as I wanted to. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Washington, D.C.
And how long have you been in Los Angeles?
About a year and a half.
Wow, fairly recent. Where did you start your modeling or fashion career? If you don't mind telling us.
Yeah, so probably back in 2008.
Well, quite some time ago.
Yeah.
And how did you get into that genre?
So I had wanted to be a designer since I was about 8 years old. And so I went to school for design, and then that introduced me to a lot of designers who then wanted me to, walk in their runways and some magazine.
You've done
and
what?
print.
Runway work?
Runway and magazine and print back in the day.
Is it true those models are real bitches? There's a lot of them.
No, that's not true.
They eat and then they barf.
Some,
They're on heroin and their breath smells bad and their poo is loose.
No,
Is that true?
No, it's not true.
I heard their poo is loose.
Yep.
It doesn't. They don't have a hard bowel movement because they're such drug addicts. Not you, of course. You know.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are bad people. Is that right?
No.
Must have been a book I was reading.
You might be talking about comedians.
Now, let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. You were designing some clothes. When is the mini skirt going to come back? Do you think it'll ever come back?
You should bring it back.
I don't think the miniskirt ever went out.
But you hardly see any women wearing it today.
Is it because it's cold right now?
Oh, California's already warm.
Yeah, wait till July.
Yeah, I think a miniskirt with high boots and a turtleneck and cool tights is always going to be in. I don't think that's ever going to
So do you like
That is
Los?
true. I have like 5 mini skirts in my closet.
Yeah.
Do you like Los Angeles?
I love Los Angeles.
You don't think there's too many cars?
I didn't drive for 8 years, so to go from public transportation to driving, it sort of feels like a little sanctuary.
Do you live downtown? Did you move downtown?
No, I live in West Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a special person in your life?
Nelya.
Oh yeah.
No.
Best friends forever.
No, not at the moment.
I'm available too.
We're going to fix that by the end of this podcast.
Okay.
My wife was killed in a ballooning accident. last
Roger's
weekend.
checking himself
I'm
right now for
available.
you.
I checked this morning. I told you. Everything's there.
looks good.
And everything looks
And
great.
Melissa, why don't you do a little intro in case people don't know who you are from the last
Hello.
episode? Melissa
She's
is
a superstar.
a returning guest.
Returning.
Just give us a
Happy to
real
be
quick,
back.
and you're from, and your nationality, and where you're from.
Filipino. I'm from the Bay Area. Live in LA. But
And you have a large
Spicy
family.
Filipino.
I have a lot of family. I have a dachshund wiener dog. He's so cute. His name's Bandit.
Does he bark?
Not much, actually. He's
Really?
a very good boy.
I miss
He's the
him.
best boy ever.
And you work at the Comedy Store.
Work at the Comedy Store.
Now, how will you make ends meet now that the club is closed?
You know?
Hand jobs.
I'm working on the corner in NoHo right now at night.
If you have to perform
midnight.
sex on a stranger,
Yeah.
I guess a hand job would be probably the most
Yeah.
unevasive.
I'm only going to be
Yeah.
doing
No.
hand jobs. I'm not going to do anything oral unless it's like,
No anal for her either. She's saving that for marriage.
Yeah, saving it. So I'm
Yeah.
only just going to be doing hand jobs for
$1,500
and I think that should be
1,500 a
fine.
pop.
Are you
Yeah.
allowed to grab the tits and stuff while you're doing it?
No.
That's going to
Depends on
cost.
how-
Bethany,
that will-
Bethany
if I
said
like you.
no.
No, are you crazy?
Yeah.
You crazy?
Yeah.
Apparently she's our manager.
honestly,
She's opening up the shop.
Yeah. She's
Making
gonna
the
be our
rules here.
pimp.
And
No.
Nelya, you want to tell us a little quickly? You're a returning guest as
Like,
well.
what is your actual name?
My name is Nelya. Nelya.
I'm sorry.
Nelya.
Nail her. Go ahead. honey.
All right, is everyone from Eastern Europe beautiful? Is that true? Because
Kind of. I don't know. Most.
that's the
of
cliche, and it
people.
seems to be true.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's a compliment. Just gotcha. Very subtle. Thank you, Roger.
Right?
Yeah, we have
Complimenting
American
you.
guys kissing the sleeves of our sweaters all the time. This happens all the time. So I moved out here. My family moved out here when I was younger. So I grew up in Sacramento, lived in San Diego for a while, studied anthropology and health science, and worked in human resources. And then an opportunity opened up to move up to LA and pursue my actual dream of performing arts.
Anthropology is bones?
Yeah. My favorite class was dusting things that we found on sites and distinguishing bone from stone, and I was really good at that. Archaeological analysis class.
Get you to travel all over the world as well.
Brian is good at recognizing a bone.
Yeah. Melissa and I are pretty good at that too. Bethany as well. We could just get picky with the bones that we dust.
Are there any modeling pictures of you on the internet, perhaps?
Yeah, we're trying to find you on the internet. Tell us about that, Bethany.
Instagram.
I don't have social media
At all.
Why?
at all.
That's weird.
How
I got
amazing.
rid of it about 3 or 4 years ago.
Witness
now.
protection.
Too many people sliding into the DM.
You have brothers and sisters?
I do.
Well, Bethany,
I do.
tell us the arrangement on that.
So I have an older sister and a younger brother.
Wonderful. 3. Very
I'm the
nice.
middle.
Do you feel a lot happier since you've gotten rid of social media?
Yeah, so I did it as a challenge to myself, and then I was as happy as I was when I was in college, and I can't ever go back.
You said you did it.
It's terribly intrusive.
Yeah.
You said you did it because you were so people want to slide in your DMs. Did you
That was-
have a really bad relationship that something happened that pushed you into that side?
No, I did reconnect with a lot of people through Instagram. I did have a couple relationships that happened because
Was it a stalker incident, perhaps?
no, I did have a stalker, but not through Instagram.
Everybody's been there.
They always wind up. They
So
always.
no Facebook either?
No Facebook.
So what do you do? Do you have?
I have a Twitter and a LinkedIn.
And if
So-
someone
And
wants
a
to talk
Venmo.
to you, they'll text you or call you.
I have
right?
actually had guys message me on LinkedIn after meeting me. So
Wow. And Roger, let's talk about you.
I can't compare.
When did you get into the editing business?
I've been making films since I was 7 years old when I found my dad's 8mm camera and just started shooting and tried to emulate the Gumby cartoons that I saw when I was a little kid. Remember Gumby?
Yeah.
Oh
Is
yes.
this one of your videos?
They're psychedelic. Oh, that's a trailer for Trekkies,
Yeah.
my first documentary.
Trekkies. By the way, Brian, this is a classic movie. Like a lot of people know about this
amazing.
movie. Trekkies is all about Star Trek.
Yeah, he's
And,
the real deal.
It's
Roger
a huge
Nygard.
movie.
It's the first of its kind in terms of fan documentaries. It kind of set the template for fan documentaries. So I've been making films ever since I was a kid, and now I do a lot, mostly comedy. Comedy's my specialty. So
That's so
I've
great.
directed TV shows like The Bernie Mac Show and The Office, and then, as you mentioned,
cool.
edited Veep and Curb Your
You
Enthusiasm.
worked on The Office too?
Yes.
And Veep.
Dude,
How many years-
you're a
how many
big
seasons did you
deal.
do that?
Can we get
One.
your autographs?
And documentaries,
Autographs.
and obviously, and now writing. Wrote a book based on the truth about marriage.
You wrote a book after you filmed the film?
Companion book to go along with the release of the film.
That's
where
great.
once I finished the film, I had so much information,
Yeah, I
really
bet.
valuable relationship tips that I
Mm-hmm.
thought I need to put this somewheres. Because I was at here's an example. I was at a film festival
Mm-hmm.
screening in Orlando, Florida, and there was a woman in the audience during the screening, and I was in the corner watching, and she's scribbling furiously on a pad of paper. And so during the Q&A afterwards, I said, "What are you writing down over there?" And she said, "Oh, my friend. It's for my friend. She couldn't make it to the screening, and she needs to get a boyfriend. So I have to get her this
Taking notes.
information." And so I said, I'm gonna get you covered. I'll have that for you in a book."
Printed.
Yeah.
What's the book called? Is it the same?
Same name, The
Title?
Truth About Marriage.
Here it is right now. You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah,
It comes in
great.
Kindle or paperback.
Yeah, the Kindle just dropped this week.
Nice.
I recommended anybody in a relationship or anybody who's considering getting married, perhaps.
That's
It's-
only 95% of the world. I
and
think.
Only?
it gives you some real simple I guess, instructions on how to, how to dialogue with your lover.
How to
or
not
your-
fuck it up. You know what I found when I talked to all these psychologists? I searched out all these psychologists, the best ones I could find who would respond to me. And I
all
talked-
over the world.
So essentially about 15 top psychologists, and I asked them all the same questions, and they all essentially agreed on things that you can do, that we're all doing it wrong. We're all doing relationships wrong. Because nobody teaches you in high school how to have a relationship. You'd think the thing that's going to be the most important thing you'll ever do in your life, there'd be a class on it. You got home ec, you learn to bake cookies, you learn how to do math, you know, social studies, but nothing about here are some basic things to watch out for in
social
relationships.
skills,
Because men and women are different, their brains are different, they're masculine and feminine, they need different things. Just to be aware of it so you can give your partner what they need.
I think for the longest time, people just probably believe that, like, oh, it's gonna, like, once you find the one, you'll know when you know, and then it'll magically work out. And that's, I guess we're just
it's a fallacy.
gradually and very quickly
It's a 7-year
finding out
project,
that
was
that's
it?
not the case.
7-year project.
I've been working this for 7 years. It took me first a year just to read, over a year, to read a stack of books, 4 or 5 feet tall, all the relationship books written by all these
course.
researchers. Then I sent emails to all these people to say, can I interview you? And they're all over the world. And I took a big map of the world, put push pins where they're all located to see where they're clustered. Okay, now here's my East Coast trip. Here's my upper Pacific Midwest. This guy's in Spain.
Wow.
And so I began traveling and doing the interviews. And Don Blanquita was actually my first interview in Brazil, was this guy who was the most single person I've ever met in my entire life.
How did you meet him? So does he have a book that you read, or did you
No,
did you
I just
come across?
random chance. I was in
saw him.
Brazil
Love that.
and met the guy.
He was really funny.
You get a sense as a documentarian, this guy belongs in a documentary. So
Yeah.
I went back 5 months later and interviewed him.
Wow.
Is he still
so
with
great.
his wife today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
happily married.
And how did you? Hopefully, I'll meet him someday if you don't mind. I'd like to be invited to another social function. I don't usually get invited to social functions, but
Noted. That's noted.
You want to
Don't
watch a
bring your-
preview of this movie?
I
Brett?
can't imagine why.
sure, we can do that.
Let's watch a preview of The Truth About Marriage.
Almost 0% of engaged people think they are ever going to get divorced.
We all know the statistics. Marriage rates are down, divorce rates are high, and over time, people become more and more unsatisfied in their marriages. Why is marriage so hard for people?
Because it's not a relationship, it's a series of relationships.
How did you get Jordan to commit to you?
I told him he could do whatever he wanted with anybody else.
That broke me.
She ran. I chased her. She caught me.
We call each other the work in progress. It's pretty much what our marriage has
It
been.
is a work in progress. I do the work and she makes the progress.
Yeah.
Who's the boss more often than not in relationships, the man or the woman?
Women.
The woman.
Women.
Men have conned us into thinking we're on earth for you. You're on earth for us.
Did Carlton say he loved you when he married you?
Oh, we didn't discuss that. Compatibility comes first.
Now, how did you schedule this with your editing duties? And all these this worldwide travel to complete this film.
Every
How
time
did
I had
that
a
work?
hiatus, when you work on a TV show, there's a hiatus, eventually. So every hiatus, I grab my camera and travel and plan all my interviews then.
Smart. Brian, have you ever been married?
No. No.
You didn't blink. I feel like you're like lying. No?
No. But we're here to talk about the film.
Have you ever been in love?
Ooh, I like that.
I can't say for sure if I've.
You would have
been
no
in love.
doubt if you've been in love.
You
You know how
would
you
know.
know? Because it's so painful.
When it ends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
You think you're dying.
someone was. I think I might have been. But let's get back to the film.
Pensive Brian.
The lonely man.
Start me up. So the part that I have questions about, I kind of understood the whole film, but there was one part that I think I want the girls to explain as well as, of course, you, is the part about the birth control pill.
Oh, yeah.
And then the DNA and coming off it and then not being attracted to that gentleman anymore. That was that hit me the hardest. Can you
Here's a quick summary, and it's funny how we think we have full control, and free will is kind of an illusion in many ways. our bodies are in control of a lot of the ways we feel. And one way they found where that's the case is that when a woman's pregnant, she's attracted to a different kind of man than when she's not pregnant. And the birth control pill makes a woman's body think she's pregnant all the time. So now when she's on birth control, she's attracted to a man who's going to be a good nurturer, who's going to stay home and take care of the kids, the nice guy, right?
Wow.
When she's not pregnant or when she's ovulating, she's attracted to what you call him the bad boy, or the chief, the leader, the tribal leader.
The alpha.
The neck tattoo.
Yes, the alpha, because it's about blending of your genetics with someone else's genetics that's going to give a baby the best chance for survival. And if you can get the genes of the leader of the tribe, well, then the baby's going to have whatever qualities made that person a leader as well. Now, this person's not thinking about this consciously. It's just, I'm really attracted to this person. Or if you're on the birth control pill, you get married, and then you go off the pill because you decide we want to have a baby. Suddenly, you can't stand the guy you've been married to.
This is a very frightening scenario. This has happened to people all the time.
Yeah, and so the advice is go
Yes.
off birth control before you
makes
get
sense.
married, and make sure you're really attracted to whoever that person is. Plus, birth control wreaks havoc with your hormones. It can cause skin
does.
issues and all kinds of things that it takes a long time to overcome. Have you guys ever had that experience?
Yes.
Yeah, like as I was on the pill for 11 years, and then that's when I got my IUD, which didn't work out very well. And I went back, and I never really had a problem being on the pill. I never really noticed anything. But then when the IUD didn't work out, I went back on the pill, and then I felt a difference because I had been off of it for
Difference in your attraction to different men?
not in my attraction, but like in my it's not like I got depressed or anything, like I was crying all the time or anything, but I felt a big difference in like my motivation or like just like my natural drive and energy. It just kind of died for some reason when I went back on it. And it was interesting because I was just so used to being in that zone for 11 years that I didn't realize it was different in my body, but it
So
was.
is an IUD is not going to make the person feel like the pill? Is that a different...
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, like the one that I had no hormones in it, it's like just like a copper one, but I don't know. Most of birth control have something bad. Now I'm like
they're toxic,
all natural.
I guess. The birth
yeah.
pills
So you're
are
off birth
toxic.
control now.
Yeah.
It's like steroids. It's got a bad side effect.
It makes sense.
I would say for me, there's a lot of different things that happen because I've tried 2 different pills, but if the best way I can describe is like I felt a little bit muted out, like
That's a good.
maybe a little not foggy because that sounds dramatic, but yeah, just not fully myself. I don't just like not feeling the same range of emotion that you would feel naturally, normally.
So I also want to say is a lot of birth control actually, one of the side effects is it drops your sex drive drastically.
Birth control.
Birth control, and it's something that a lot of companies want to cover up. They say, oh, only 15% of women experience this. Every girlfriend of mine has experienced that. And what's dangerous about it is they put women on it at 13, and they don't know, and then they go to have children.
Who puts them on at 13? The parents?
Doctors.
Or
Like,
doctors?
They
yeah,
say, like,
my
they
doctor wanted to put me on it when I was a kid.
Don't they need permission from the parents before they put a 13-year-old on a prescription drug?
Yeah, but they come up with excuses like if you have pain while
or heavy
you're-
periods,
heavy
yeah.
period.
So
oh,
doctors, all they want to do is take out that prescription notebook.
Yeah.
That's all they freaking want to do.
And then
unfortunately.
and then when my friends like want to have kids, I've literally had their husbands be like, "You want to sleep with me like 3 times a day? What's wrong with you?" And they're like, "Oh, I just stopped taking the pill." And so many times, and then I have friends where their sex drive is really high. They get on the pill, and all of a sudden they don't want to sleep with
It
their
makes
boyfriends.
sense because if your body thinks you're pregnant, sex isn't necessary.
Right.
So
It's
it
true,
makes
yeah.
sense that it would
Adds
drop.
up.
Yeah, this was a real eye-opener to me. It made me second-guess my whole existence.
Here's the other
with
thing
the
that
opposite
was
sex.
mind-blowing to me is in a related study. It's called the T-shirt study, where they took 40 T-shirts that men wore, had men wear this T-shirt for a week and like don't shower, and then they had 47 women smell the T-shirts and rank them by how which one is most attractive, and then they would to see what correlated with their choices, and they found that the T-shirts that smelled the best, the most attractive, they had immune systems that were opposite of theirs. It's called the major histocompatibility complex.
Say that again, Roger. Not as fast, please.
There's 100 genes that a baby has to, from your parents might have one of these genes or some combination of these genes that determines your immune system. When you feel passion for somebody, it's your body recognizing this person's immune system is further away from you than where you land on that spectrum. So it's opposite of yours, different from yours. If they're the same, if you have the same immune system, you don't feel attraction. So you might kiss somebody. When you kiss somebody, you go, just no attraction.
Yeah.
Your body's going,
it's okay.
Not a good choice for mixing genes and making a baby. Baby won't have as diverse of choices to draw upon for a stronger immune system. And we interpret it as passion. There's a lot going on beneath our conscious awareness.
Yes.
And
That's
it's through
powerful.
pheromones.
So maybe this is the reason why a lot of the marriages fail? Could be? This underlying science?
This is part of the problem with dating apps. You can't, it's like eHarmony, you cannot decide, you can't tell who's going to be attracted no matter how many questions they fill out.
How much you have in common, quote unquote.
Until they sit across from each
and
other.
Physically meet,
And
yes.
then you can see how that person makes you feel.
Yes.
Then you know if you're attracted.
Has anyone here ever kissed someone and their saliva was bitter?
I think I have had that. I never really thought about it.
And so
What does that mean?
so when you kiss someone, your saliva, it swaps. And basically, if you kiss someone and their saliva is bitter, that's your body as a female telling you that this is not a good match physically.
Or they have a
That's
rotten
great.
tooth.
No, it's like a bitterness.
ASAP,
It's
yeah.
happened to me 3 times.
crazy.
Yeah.
And what's the opposite? Have you kissed someone and it tasted
Amazing.
great?
Yeah, you
Oh,
just want to
yeah.
like kiss them,
Yeah, you're like,
forever.
you're down. You're ready to make out forever. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can't change it. If you don't have a connection, there's no point going forward.
Yeah.
But if there is, if you have a chemical match, that's what will keep you together as a couple for the duration of your relationship.
No matter what.
Well,
Is that why
Well,
some
health.
couples they'll fight like hell and they'll never break up?
Ever.
They'll
so
fight
great.
like hell and never break
Supports
up.
everything I really kind of believed in, and like there's been relationships that I've met guys and like kissed them like, oh, it's not great, but maybe I should get to know him better, and then never works out because
That
there you go,
initial-
the science proves it.
Yeah.
It's because
No.
you don't have that initial
First date, you should know. Kiss somebody, and if you will know. And it's just if you don't trust your instincts, and we're taught not to trust our instincts, but you should.
Of
It's
course.
your brain is giving you everything you need in an instantaneous. Did you ever read Malcolm Gladwell's book Blink?
No.
It's about how our brains will take any situation and immediately analyze it. Is it safe? Is it creepy? Is it good? Is it bad? And gives you an instinctual feeling toward that person or that place. And it can save your life.
How many awards has this film received already on the film festival circuit?
4 awards and lots of
Yeah.
lots of nominations.
Right. It's done very well.
Great.
Yeah, people seem to be interested in
Yeah, I
relationships
love
and talking about them and being in them.
But it's
and
also
doing them better.
a really good reminder of things too, because I was like, there's a lot of things. I'm like now in a 4-year relationship, and there's a lot of things that you kind of start to forget, and it's like reminders of all these little things, like just like a little like I don't know,
Like, hey, I care about you, or
yeah, a lot of things
Gratitude.
that can be taken for granted.
Expressing gratitude daily,
That's huge.
verbally.
Like
Huge.
when your wife or your husband or your lover comes home, you get up off the chair or the couch
To greet them.
and you open the door and you greet them as they
Yeah.
come in. As simple as that.
Yeah.
It's not all about you anymore.
Right.
You're in what we call a relationship. And I think that's what people forget.
Yeah.
it's true.
They
Well,
can-
it's called habituation. They get used to it and start to take it for granted.
Like
and
a
they think
brother
it's
or
gonna
a
stay
sister.
the same, and it's going to get better on its own. And Dr. Gottman, who's one of the psychologists I interviewed, said that relationships naturally deteriorate over time unless you put conscious intent and effort into it. So it's going to your relationship will naturally fall apart over time. That's what will happen to every relationship unless you work on it.
You ask your wife, "Oh, can you get this for me?" And the wife says, "Oh, is your arm broken?" I mean, did I marry you to hear
run
you
your
say,
errands?
"Is my fucking arm broken?" Is my only job in this house is to take the trash out? And it can go both ways. When they start degrading the conversation, you know, I learned a lot in the film about how to have a constructive disagreement or argument.
Right, they're the correct ways to do conflict and ways that make it worse.
Yeah, it's always made worse if you say, you make me, you say, this is how
I feel.
Right.
Substitute I for you in your sentences. Yeah. Instead of saying, you are a fucking slob, you say, I am anxious when the house is messy.
Yeah. And it's a simple fix, but it makes a huge difference.
And it's, and people are going to be in bad moods from time to time, but I think if you treated your relationship like one of the participants in that relationship had a terminal illness and wasn't going to be around for a while.
Lose them, yes.
If you treated them like and it's not going to happen overnight. Some of you people are listening are having trouble with your relationships. You're really into them. You love them like a rock. You can work on it and improve it as you go along, and make it better, make it special, make it like the first, the love sequence in the beginning.
Yeah, like the honeymoon stage.
The honeymoon stage.
Gratitude, as I mentioned, gratitude is important, and there's something they call capitalization, which is if you come home and your partner says something really good happened to him or her that day, what you need to do is capitalize on that and say, wow, that's great. I'm so happy for you. Because if you don't acknowledge it, it counts against you. But if you do acknowledge it, it makes you both happier in that moment, and that happiness will linger on all week. And these are all tips in the book and in the documentary. There are simple things like this that you can do. You don't have to do any of them unless you want to be happier.
Right.
Wow.
But kind of everybody, don't you want to be a little bit happier in your relationship?
So simple.
Just change your interaction a little bit. And here's the most important thing. If I can impart one thing to all the men listening, or the masculine, there's a masculine and feminine, right? We all have portions of both within ourselves.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm in my feminine, sometimes I'm in my masculine. Obviously, men, we feel, on average, have more masculine than feminine. The masculine, what they have to understand is that the feminine needs it's like a relationship vitamin, needs about 15 to 20 minutes of listening per day. So what you need to do is come home and say, honey, how was your day? How are you feeling? How are you feeling about your day? And then shut up. That's the hardest part for men. It's counterintuitive. It's not natural for men to shut up. But men want to fix it. They want to offer suggestions. They want to ask questions. True. Just say, how was your day? And then listen and maybe express empathy.
Really listen.
That's great. Oh, I'm so sorry that happened. Oh, but you're so good at your job. I'm sure it'll get better. And then at the end, give her a hug. You put in your 15 or 20 minutes. Maybe it's 30 some night. Maybe it's 10. And then you can go watch the game. You take your cell phone, put it on airplane mode. It's about being present. The masculine has to demonstrate that I'm present. I'm with you. Make eye contact, and I'm hearing, and I'm feeling, and I'm recognizing you. If you can do that, you've got to put in that 10 to 15 to 20 minutes per day. It's a need that the feminine needs per day. And if she doesn't get it, she's going to feel unsatisfied, unfulfilled. It's going to become frustration and then anger and other things.
And then the mailman.
Arguments, cheating.
Plumber comes in and she's going to be on him in a second.
That's a very simple thing, right? Anyone could do. What does it cost you to try it as an experiment? 20 minutes a night.
Yeah,
it costs nothing, right?
It's worth the experiment.
And see what happens.
It's funny though. I feel like if a woman doesn't get that, she might not even realize that that's why. For the most part, probably doesn't realize that that's why she's starting to
become
hold
overwhelmed
a grudge against her partner, or just like not know where to place her feelings anymore.
I would like to add, and I think what one of the scholars you have on there touched on this, it was like something, how do you make her happy? It's like, give her more of what she wants, and then she'll give you everything you want or everything you need. And it's so true.
Because she'll be in a good mood.
Yeah, just you talking about those 20 minutes, and I'm imagining myself in that situation. If my guy does that, like my man asks me about my day, and I get to ramble on for 20 minutes, once the 20 minutes is over, I want to ask him about his day and then do everything in my power to see him happy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, then you give me 20 minutes and you'll probably get whatever amount of time you need to do whatever makes you happy.
Don't take advantage of that and take more than your 20 per night. Otherwise, that natural resource will be diminished over time.
Yeah.
But I think as
That
women,
makes
we
sense.
naturally want to like really take care of the man or woman that we love. Like we want to do everything for this person that we're in love with. But yeah, it's
So
just
what are
feel a
the
little
needs?
bit
You need to
value.
know what they need, right? So number one, you've got to ask for what you want. Tell your partner, particularly the feminine needs to tell the masculine what they need because they don't know. They are clueless. They have no idea.
That's so true.
I dated this girl once, and I was making her very unhappy, and I didn't know why. And I said to her, "Can you give me a list? Give me a list of what you want." So she gave me a top 10 list. These are the things I need. And it was wonderful because now I knew exactly what the secret to her happiness was. And it was like, hold my hand, open the car door, tell me you miss me. I mean, I can do all those things.
Right, you
I
just
don't
need to
mind
know
it.
what they are. Yeah.
Yes, because men are clueless. I'm telling you, they need your help. They need your guidance. Ask for what you want. But also, if you can't give it, you've got to be courageous enough to say, I can't do that for you.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's what the masculine has to understand about the feminine. Now, the feminine, and the counterpoint to this, what the feminine has to accept and understand about the masculine is that the masculine craves connection just like the feminine does, right? We're meant to complete each other, not duplicate each other. We're looking for someone that's different from us in many ways, but we're drawn to. And so the masculine is also craving connection, but when the masculine gets the connection, he wants freedom. He starts to yearn for freedom. And so he goes through this orbit from connection to yearning for freedom. And once he's got freedom, he's orbiting away. He starts to miss her. Go, oh, I want connection again. And he goes through this orbit. That's the male cycle. You're familiar with the female cycle, obviously. But there's a male cycle of freedom and connection. Now, if you try to get in the way and stop that orbit, which you can't stop it, all you can do is cause frustration, which turns to anger and arguments. So the best way for the masculine to facilitate this orbit or this need is to say, honey, and to announce the disconnection. Honey, I'm going to go golfing with my friends. And when you announce the disconnection, you also announce when you're going to reconnect. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at dinner tonight at 7:30. Now she knows he's disconnecting. She feels safe and secure, and there's no reason to be insecure about it. She knows when they're going to reconnect. And you've got to be home when you say you're going to be home. If it's going to be midnight, say it's midnight. It's better to take your lumps up front than and if you're going to be late, call. You got to be true to your word. So if both sides can accept that they have different needs and that's what they are, and give your partner what they need, you'll have a much better chance at longevity and happiness in a relationship. So this is me downloading what I learned from all of these psychologists.
Yeah. That's really great. Very simply put, very well summarized. Thank you.
Very simple, but very complicated for people who just can't
It's hard to
wrap
do.
their head around it.
It's hard, but once you start, it's a self-fulfilling feedback because you get happier doing it.
Yeah. It's like habit building. You have to create those habits, those kind of maybe routines, depending on what your personality likes as well.
Now, what's the future of this movie? What's the trajectory of the movie going forward?
The Truth About Marriage has just been released to video on demand, so it's on Amazon and iTunes and all the usual suspects. And the book just came out on Kindle and it's on Amazon. And then it'll be on a streaming service in about 3 or 4 months because there's a video on demand window and then a streaming service. So it'll be out there. It's available. You can search for it on my website, thetruthaboutmarriage.com, and I have links where you can find it if you want to see it, or contact me for a free consultation on masculine and feminine.
We got that Vimeo link.
So you girls loved it, didn't you? You liked the movie, right?
So
I thought it
great.
was pretty interesting myself. You don't have to be in a relationship, or you don't have to be married to enjoy
learn.
this film.
To learn a lot from there.
It's about personal relationships and how to conduct them in a way that's going to make everybody happy. I mean, anybody.
And it's a comedy. I start out to make a comedy. That's my first goal, is to make a funny film. And then secondarily, if there's a lesson,
a little message. Heck yeah.
You know, there's a moral to the story. I came to an ending that it surprised myself too. I started out thinking I was going to tear this relationship, this thing down, this marriage institution, and I took it apart, like taking an engine and just disassembling it all on the floor and started putting it back together and going, okay, now that we're here, what do we do about it? And what I learned personally is that whether you're in a relationship of any kind, whether you're married or not, that life is so much better when you have someone special to share whatever it is
That's
that you're
the bottom
doing.
line. I love that was like the ending note.
It's so simple.
I forgot to hand these out in the beginning.
Thank you,
You're
Brian.
famous for your marshmallow peeps.
Last time we
Brian's handing
got
out
chocolate
marshmallow
kisses.
peeps.
Yeah, last time he's like, I have a kiss for all you ladies.
I thought they were sanitary wipes at
chocolate
first.
kiss.
Oh,
That
that
was-
would have been so much
Brian.
greater too.
That was on the list. My ex-girlfriend's list was always give me gifts.
Aww.
But at least
So that's
you know,
her love
so you
language.
So how long did that relationship last?
Oh, quite
after
a while.
the list?
Yeah, because it was great because I knew exactly what to do.
What do you do though? So what if you are a direct person and you are straightforward and you do state your needs and the person for whatever reason could give those things to you but is not willing to give those things to you?
You have to acknowledge the reality, right? Because you've asked and now they've answered. And so now you have to be okay with them not giving you those things because the only way to achieve happiness is acceptance of, first of all, yourself, who you are, and your partner for who they are. And so if you ask for something and they won't give it to you, you have to accept that they're never going to pick their socks up off the floor or say, I love you, or whatever it is. Maybe someday in the future, but you've got to accept it. That's the only answer. Or you find someone that will.
Right.
That
You know-
number 2.
I'm with the or on that.
One sounds more like a better option.
Yeah, you deserve a person who will give you your needs. They're out there. There's someone who is more evolved emotionally, and you know, men don't mature as quickly as women. It wasn't until age 30 that I learned how to say I love you to someone.
I believe it. Yeah, like I would never. Yeah, it's a big difference dating 30s.
I'm still working on it.
No.
What do you have in your mouth, Brian? What are you eating?
He ate a bunny.
Yeah,
Did you eat a big bunny, chubby bunny?
So do you think you girls will?
have some.
You think you'll be inclined to tell your other female friends about this film and
I
male
already
friends?
told everyone.
Absolutely.
I think it's really helpful for everyone.
My
Even-
roommates watched it with us last night.
Yeah, like
Wow.
no matter how great
sent it
you
to
think
some
your
guy friends,
relationship is, there's always something that can be worked on just to make things, just to make everyone a little bit happier, even if it's already happy.
There was a woman who came up to me at a screening with her husband kind of a few steps behind her, and she was on the verge of tears, and she said, "Thank you so much. I've been trying to tell him this for years, and now, you know, someone else is finally telling him that she just needed her 10 or 15 minutes per night."
Yeah.
I mean, that's too long, in my opinion.
Let's ask Janice.
Now, every relationship I've always been in, I've always let the girl talk because I don't really talk much. So I'm a great listener, but I think buying the gifts thing is my favorite thing. I'll buy Janice maybe 3 gifts a week. Now they're mostly cleaning supplies. No, just kidding. No, but like
What was it?
Cleaning supplies.
no. But like
Clorox
Amazon
wipes
makes
is
it
my
really
thing.
easy. Like like hey, there's a package on the doorstep. It's for you, you know, and it might just be something stupid,
That's sweet.
but well, you know, it's so
That's
easy
nice.
to do
That's
nowadays.
nice,
you know?
yeah.
But it shows her that you're thinking of her.
Very
and-
thoughtful,
Yeah.
Redban, yes.
Do you ever buy her some sexy lingerie or sex toys?
All the time.
And then does she really wear them?
Oh,
well
she
for
loves
ya?
that shit.
I know.
yeah.
I
You
know
do that
she
for
would.
Phil?
I mean, pretty much
I
all
did
these
for
mannequins
Valentine's
are
Day. I
wearing
did the
old
surprise-
costumes.
Yeah. Came out of the shower.
You know, she was the schoolgirl, Asian schoolgirl over there
Yeah.
before, and you know, she was a stormtrooper once.
Stormtrooper? Oh, Janice.
Asian stormtrooper.
Let me see.
What was your favorite location? All the places in the world that you
Oh,
traveled to
southern
interview?
Spain, near Malaga. Have you ever been to near Malaga?
I've never been to Spain.
Southern
I have to get there.
Spain is amazing.
Well, it's closed now.
Yeah, you have to wait till they open up again. But because the food, first of all, the food is incredible and it's inexpensive.
Tell us about
and
the
it's
food. I've
beautiful.
never been to Spain.
Paella? Do you like
Oh, I
paella?
love paella.
Do you like
What-
olives?
What is paella? Tell us what paella is.
What is paella? Anyone?
It's like rice with a bunch of but it's kind of like Spanish style
seafood
rice with a bunch
seafood.
of
Everybody raves about Spain. Who's ever
Yeah,
been to
like
Spain? They just say
spices.
it's like one of the best European locations.
Until you probably go to Portugal, and then it's even more amazing.
You like Portugal better?
Well, that's what I've heard, and so I have not been to Portugal yet.
Look at that, Brian.
There's paella for you. You're gonna love it, Brian.
When I went to Ecuador once, you know how our shrimp cocktail here in America is just a couple of pieces of shrimp in the red sauce?
Yeah.
In Ecuador, the shrimp cocktail is like unbelievable. It's a soup type thing. It's not the shrimp cocktail that we get here.
Yeah.
So when you go to different places, you find out what the real dish is.
Yeah. That's what's great about traveling. You get to discover so many things that, and first thing I realized when I came back to the United States after traveling is just how the way that food is prepared here is different. When I went to the first place I ever traveled was Guatemala, because I don't count vacations with family as a vacation.
Yeah.
And so the first time I went with a girlfriend was to Guatemala, and the food was amazing there. And the reason was because they didn't have refrigeration for a long time, so all the ingredients had to be fresh.
So true.
So they still keep it's still fresh.
That's cool.
And you can taste such a difference.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the tomatoes in Southeast Asia. I mean, not when I went to Egypt. The tomatoes tastes like tomatoes.
Right, they're
I
sweet.
mean, oh my God, it's like compared to the tomatoes here.
Or even like
Farm-raised.
the limes in Mexico are better.
Even in the Philippines.
The mangoes in the Philippines.
Oh, the mangoes.
are the best.
Mangoes is the most popular fruit in the whole world. I think is it mango.
Is it? Yeah, the mangoes there are so good. The mango shakes they have are just so good.
A mango puts an apple to shame.
Who likes traveling? Anyone here? A lot of arms going up.
Yeah, everybody.
I love traveling.
Yeah.
I love just being in another culture and tasting the food is my favorite thing.
Right.
Just tasting all the food everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never been to Spain though. That's like the next on my.
Middle Eastern.
I've been a
food.
lot of places, and I've never had a bad experience anywhere. But like sketch, I've been to what people would call sketchy places.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I travel very respectfully. And when I've seen people get into trouble, it's usually because they get drunk and
Right.
they act like an idiot.
Right.
And they call attention to themselves, and then they end up in trouble. But if you're respectful, everyone... It's like when I went to Mumbai, India, and I was seeking out, for The Nature of Existence, my prior documentary, I was seeking out a Muslim cleric to interview who has this reputation as being a terrorist. And but he wasn't. He was just a Muslim cleric who we talked for 3 hours. Actually, it was about closer to 5 hours because they had to stop and pray twice during the interview. Everything had to stop. All the chairs.
Oh, yeah,
had to be put
5
away.
times a day.
They had to get on the ground and do the thing, and we had to
That's so
wait.
cool.
But we bonded on a brotherly level, and they were like afterwards, "Brother Nygard, what can we get you?" And they fed me, and because I genuinely wanted to understand what he thought, what they believed. And people connect. When you connect with someone because you genuinely listen to them, it's back to listening. That's what, on a basic level, if you want to seduce someone, if you want to make them your friend, if you want to get that job when you go in for a job interview, make that person feel like you're present and listening and interested in who they are.
Like, listening is the way of loving each human. It doesn't have to be
And showing respect.
And some people are a little bit apprehensive about staring at somebody. So what you do is you stare at the bridge of their nose, right here. And that'll give the impression that you're staring right in their eyes if you're that kind of person.
That's right. That's your third eye. You're right into your third eye.
So you focus on the bridge of the nose between the two eyes, and that'll take your mind off looking at them in the eyes.
I like looking in their eyes.
No, most people do, but some people,
It's hard
eye contact is uncomfortable for certain people.
You just have to demonstrate you're present, whatever it takes. And if you can't make eye contact, you just have to demonstrate presence. And that's the sexiest thing is presence when you're there.
Yeah, when you shake somebody's hand, you should be looking at that person's face. I get this a lot when I shake somebody's hand, and they're not even looking at my face.
Yeah.
And I pick that up right away.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever looked at my face in my whole life.
Poor thing. Been staring at you from the side for like 2 hours.
But I think presence is so important, whether you're having a conversation or whether, you're sharing intimacy with someone. You can genuinely feel when they're not there. And it is a huge disconnect.
Oh, yeah, you can watch their mind wandering. You can listening is a very hard skill to I'm working on myself. You have to be a good listener. You have to be present. Another thing, too, when somebody gives you a business card, I got this off the television from the Japanese, you just don't take it and put it in your pocket. You look at it and you read it. and you take the time to read it to actually see who you're talking to and what their occupation is, perhaps, if that's the information given. And then you put it away. You just don't take it and put it away. If someone took the time to give you it, you have to take the time to read it. And this is, in Japanese, they know everything about etiquette. So I would say that would be kind of true.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
There's in the book. There's a whole chapter on passion and reclaiming lost passion. I went and I observed a passion class where these passion teachers, couples would come to them who have lost their passion, and they would teach them how to reconnect. And it was about recalibrating polarity, the masculine and feminine polarity, because when you're together with someone for a long time, you start to become very much alike.
Yeah.
So you need to refine your feminine, masculine poles. When you want passion, the spark comes naturally.
Passion, romance.
When you do that. Yeah, and part of it is for the masculine is to demonstrate presence. Like when you're riding a motorcycle, this is what the teacher said. When you're riding a motorcycle, you have to be totally present, or you'll die. It's like finding that same sense of being in the moment. The feminine counterpoint to presence is invitation. Men are chasing women, right? Men ask women out, but women signal. They have to signal their receptivity. You got to signal if you're open for business. And that's through eyes, smiles. Dr. Pat Allen said, a woman can pretty much have any man she wants approach her by, she calls the 5-second rule, by making eye contact for 5 seconds. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4. By the fourth, now it's not just a glance, right? That means it's an invitation, and then that man will come over to you. Try this experiment sometime when you're out.
That's a really fun experiment.
Can't wait for the comedy store to open.
So this is so true. So growing up, my mother always told me, if you like a guy, make eye contact and smile at him. That's all you have to do, and without fail.
That's so true.
I'll try it tonight with Bubba.
Across the board, if I make eye
a good
contact
mom.
and smile and that man is interested, he's going to approach me.
Every man is going to be interested in you if you invite them over. And then once you're close, then you gauge whether there's a chemical connection and then an emotional connection, eventually physical and all these other things. But it's when, this is like the problem we were talking about, reading the room, right? When men are not good at reading the room or missing their cues, or they oversample, they take everything as an invitation. That's they're too forward, and then you're Chris Matthews, and you're out of a job.
Right.
So you have to learn to read these cues as well.
Yeah, that's what I think. They'll let you know.
I'll tell you another thing I learned in the passion class was after presence, what they teach men to do is demonstrate their claim. You say, you belong to me. You're mine. I claim you as mine. And that flips a switch in the woman's brain. It brings the two people together. You have to daily, or at least very often, remind and state verbally that you're the most amazing thing in my life.
Yeah.
And you're mine. And then her side of it is to demonstrate that to make a sound, like to indicate acceptance, to surrender, because you're taught that surrender is a bad thing.
Yeah, but it's not.
But it's a great thing to surrender into true love, and then you connect at a much stronger, deeper level.
Deeper level, yeah. I believe that probably also really builds confidence in the connection that you have, and then thus like the desire to keep creating that commit, or like committing to that relationship.
What's next for you, Roger? What project do you think that you'll aspire to next?
I always get at film festivals, that's the question that always comes up, what's next? And if you don't have an answer, you sound like an idiot. And when I was making The Nature of Existence, that question came up, and I didn't know what I was doing next, because it's like making a documentary takes years. It's like giving birth, and the last thing you want to do is get pregnant again. But I made a joke. I said, well, since I just solved all the nature, all the mysteries of the universe, the only thing that could be even more inexplicable than existence itself would be marriage. And it got a laugh, so I worked that into the routine. But I thought, wow, that is actually a good idea.
And this is great, I think, what we talked about. But just some people find out after perhaps they get married that it's just they're not compatible.
Well, yes, and that can be a painful realization to come to.
When that's a good question. So
Sometimes you should end it.
Yeah. How do you find the courage to, or how do you figure out if you're compatible? Do we take it back to like the first
Are you
time
happy?
that you kissed and it's not?
Are you happy?
It wasn't a
Does your
spark?
partner give you a feeling of satisfaction and happiness?
But don't you think that oftentimes love is also a choice? Because there are going to be people in my life that I'm not going to be happy with. There are times where I'm not even happy with myself. So there has, I can be miserable completely alone. And so I think that my feelings and happiness cannot be dependent on this other person.
That is very true. Yeah, you're responsible for your own happiness. Yes. No one can make you happy. They can increase it or amplify it. But if someone has the power to make you happy, if you give them the power to make you happy, they also have the power to make you unhappy. And
so you have to be careful of not giving up too much power in a relationship. Not power, or like maybe like not in a way be careful of losing yourself in a relationship, or the relationship can't be all of your identity. You still have to be your own person.
Ask for what you want, and then you can find out if they're willing to give it.
Okay, so I have a question for you, which sort of changes this subject a little bit.
Can I just say one thing? Yes. Roger's a filmmaker. He's not a licensed psychologist. He doesn't have a license to counsel.
He's not counseling. He learned a lot more than we did.
I could get one on the internet for $5.
So I work with a lot of men, and I have for about 12 years. And so one thing that I've noticed consistently is when I start a conversation with a man who is married, by the end of that conversation, his ring is gone.
Isn't that
funny?
And
this happens almost weekly. But if I interact with a male who has a girlfriend, maybe I can tell that they're interested, but they're not nearly as forceful, and there's no really deception. Like, they'll mention their girlfriends to me. The married men will not mention the wife, and the ring is now gone.
You actually see the ring disappear.
It disappears. And this happens on a regular basis.
So they take it off.
One-off. They take the ring off. They put it in a pocket. They hide it. And so...
they think that they have a chance with you just because you're conversing with them about work.
Or what I'm thinking, is it that because they're married, is there a sense where they want to know, if I wasn't married, could I get this girl? Is it about their ego? Is it feeling trapped? Is it feeling like they're missing out? Where these guys who have girlfriends immediately let me know I have a girlfriend. They want me to know that they're taken. The married men, they want me to think that they're completely single and available.
Yeah, well, they are missing something in their life, and they're looking toward others to... If you're together with someone for a long time, the masculine testosterone levels drop. And then when that married man interacts with another woman other than his wife, he gets a boost of testosterone, and which makes him hornier and more interested in that. And he doesn't know, he's not thinking of it on a conscious level. He's just thinking, I like talking to this woman, and I feel good again, and I can smell the flowers, and the coffee tastes better because it's a boost of testosterone. The ring comes off because he thinks maybe that's going to help him get laid. But the funny thing is that married men get hit on more than single men. It's a syndrome, and the reason is because when a woman sees a man who's married, she knows someone else has already tested him. He's passed the test. This is a good one. No. Whereas a single guy, you don't know. He's got a lot of work to do. How do you know if he's a good one?
Do you also think that
that's crazy?
It's important to continually have the ability to understand that your partner is a sexual being outside of being a wife or a husband, because we can sort of take on those roles and forget, hey, this male or female is still really wanted out in the world.
And needs to feel wanted.
And needs to feel wanted by me. Yes. And going back to gratitude and not being like, oh, that's, the old hag or the ball and chain over there, when there's a lot of men who would quickly be with that person.
If you stop giving your wife what she needs, she's going to need to have that fulfilled elsewhere and from other men. Flirting it's a vitamin. We all need to feel wanted and valued by society, not just by one person. We evolved to be in a group, to be sharing our lives with people in a group. And so one person didn't have to give us all our needs. And now we expect one person to satisfy all needs, and no one can do it. And we're frustrated.
It's possible.
And if you saw, there was a polyamorous couple in the documentary, and they do very well. They're very high functioning. couple.
Tell us what that means again.
Polyamorous means that they are together and they're married, but they still have sex with other people.
Right. Yeah. I see.
Occasionally.
Okay.
But the way to be polyamorous is they have to be open and honest with each other about who they are and what their needs are.
Right.
And so the reason that they do well is not because they have sex with other people, it's because they have to be honest in order to be polyamorous. So, when you date someone for the first time, you put on a mask, and you're both of you, it's a mask dating a mask. Here's my best self. And now let's say you keep going and you get married, eventually the mask is going to slip, and you go, you're not what I thought. And there's anger and disappointment. If you knew everything about the person from the beginning, there's far fewer disappointments in that person. And so how can you get to that point of honesty with someone from the beginning? If you want it so bad, you put up this mask. It's weird because ironically, sometimes the best relationships I've ever had is when I've gone on a date with somebody, I didn't really like her that much. And so I was just myself.
Right.
Suddenly it's 4 years later and we're still together because I could be myself.
This is what I do. Whenever I go on a date, I get out of the car and I urinate.
That's your test? That's your test.
It's my test. And if I come back in the car and she has no problem with that, then I know I'm with a free thinker.
Oftentimes.
And on the second date, I go number 2.
That might be pushing it a little too quickly.
I found that oftentimes the reason that a relationship of mine has ended was because someone presented someone who they were not for so long. And then when everything else came out, I felt so lied to.
Yeah.
Whereas had you just been honest from the beginning, you would have given me the opportunity to accept all of you from early on.
Wow.
And it is the shock
flip.
factor where it's really not even the action, even if it's negative.
What was the one thing that deceived you? That the gentleman deceived you about? One thing that you were surprised about?
So
It's just one thing.
Just one thing.
The biggest thing, I
The
guess.
biggest thing, I met someone who I felt really strongly that they were still connected to their past. And I brought this up, like past lovers, and they denied it to the point of like flying from another country to convince me I was wrong, only for me to get a LinkedIn message from the ex with the exact dates. And I even said to him, I don't care if you are. I just would like to know that because I'm a person too.
Yeah,
It wasn't even if he
feeling it
was
already.
or was not with that person. It was just being open and being honest.
We forget intuition is still a big thing. We pick up
Yeah.
on things when they're
Wow.
off.
And that's
when
just
we're
one
connected to
example.
someone.
There's other people. And
What a
other
great,
things.
what a great episode. We could talk here all.
Relationships are interesting.
Relationships can
They are.
go on and on. I'd like to finish up with
A prayer.
Nelya. Would you like to just finish up with something you'd like to say? I'd like to go around and.
Bethany, were you trying to pull something up?
Well, yeah, but I'll do it after.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it? Is this your
You
website?
asked me. Yeah, you asked me for pictures. So I
Oh,
was
give it to
pulling some
Redban.
up.
I think he just
Okay.
wanted to pull something up to put
Just
on the
text
screen.
me the link.
Oh,
Here.
okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
What's the best way to break up with a guy? Or like if you kiss someone, like if you went on a few dates and you kissed them and then you're like, oh wait, I don't have that, all those pheromones and all that chemistry that we talked about.
There's a very simple
what's it-
sentence.
What is
you
it?
say, it's really been wonderful to get to know you. I very much enjoyed it, but it's not the right thing for me.
Perfect.
Wow, that's
Because
beautiful.
You saying anything else is leading them
guess,
on.
huh?
That's lovely.
You're just
That's
leading
great,
them on,
'cause
and it's
usually it's like, oh, we'll talk later or whatever. Guys do that a lot. Like, oh, I'll see you next time.
right. The going out of town phone fade.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
it also can't hurt to say like I really, really love you, but I can't give you like the way that you deserve to be loved.
Yeah. Well, definitely wouldn't say love you. I feel like it's been nice getting to know
Or
you.
yeah, I guess if it's more casual, yeah. But,
I
like,
think
kinda
I
like,
think
I can't
about
give you what
yourself.
you
what
deserve.
Roger said is great. It's
Keep
like,
it about
it's
yourself.
Not for me.
I've really enjoyed getting to know you.
Yeah, keep
but
it
for
on
me,
you.
it's
Getting
not
to
going to
know
work,
you.
and
It's
I
not
just
gonna work.
need to tell you that.
Getting to show
Yeah,
you.
that's perfect.
Okay, so Nelya.
So Bethany is definitely witness protection. We've got confirmation now.
Go ahead and finish up with anything that you want to say now. At the end, we're gonna go around the room. Do you wanna-
To the listeners.
Yeah,
Or-
anything you want about yourself. Anything that you want to add to the conversation.
Final thoughts.
Thank
Final
you.
thoughts. Final thoughts. If anyone's hiring, I was definitely joking about the hand jobs, but I low key would need some side gigs right now because my job has closed their doors.
Is there any kind of financial help from the government or comedy
Well, yeah,
store?
I'm definitely gonna file for unemployment, but that's gonna be like literally a fraction of what we used to make. So that's barely gonna make up for what what I used to make. So yeah, side gigs. Holler at me. Instagram, Nelya, Linnik.
Count on me.
Slide into my DMs.
If you need anything, you can count on me.
Brian's gonna be your sugar daddy.
Ooh, hello. He's already giving me some sugar. I got this peep.
I think what we learned a lot today about the pill is, I guess condoms would be healthier for a woman.
Or the pull-out game.
Pull-out game.
Oh,
yeah.
you can pull out properly if you
Stay
know
off
your
the
body
pill.
well enough where
There is
Oh
an
my
app.
God.
You can get an app on your phone that tells you your
ovulating.
cycle.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have that too. I do both.
You can track your cycle, so you know it's not just for sex or trying to get pregnant, but also when you're going to ask for a job or a raise. If you go, and if you've got a male boss, and you go when
You're ovulating?
Yes,
It helps.
Absolutely.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
They did here's another study they did when they did a study with strippers. They had them keep track of their tips over a month. And the tips spiked during those 2 days when they're ovulating and dropped during their period. And somehow the men sensed it.
Outrageous.
I believe
Wow.
that 100. You know, you ever have like a week where like everyone's just like putting a bunch of phone numbers? There's always
A week when
on
the
same
customers are
time
hitting on you.
when
Yeah.
all the customers are hitting on you, and it's like always in the
Your
same.
tips will
couple
go
days.
up. Yes.
Oh, I gotta start tracking
Work-
that.
That
That's
is
so good.
that's very true.
Work during when you're ovulating, and be nice to people, and your tips will go through the roof. And then stay home when you're on your period.
Wow. How about you, Bethany? You want to finish up with anything you want to tell us or promote? I'm so glad you were able to come here.
Yeah, thank you.
Great stories.
Oh, thank you. Is there anything that I want to promote?
Say or anything? You were great. I'm really happy with
You're looking for a job right now. You can talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, I am. I'm looking for a job. So I want to be an image consultant. I want to help people promote their image, style, wardrobe, all of those things. If anyone's looking for someone,
How can they find you?
they can find me.
I'll be behind Ralph
Do I give
underneath
my
that
email
burnt out
out?
light bulb.
Oh, you can
Hand
find
jobs,
me
hand
LinkedIn.
jobs for sale, toilet paper and hand jobs.
I promise I'm not a serial
Five-
killer. You can find me at
20
on
rolls for one
LinkedIn
hand job. Sorry.
at Bethany Brown.
Say it again, hon. Say it
You
again.
can find me on LinkedIn, Bethany Brown.
Okay.
It's my name.
DMs on your
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
And then you can also email me. I'm okay with that.
Did you really meet more? This is
Or
really
you
not
can email
the first.
me to Nelya at Gmail.
Bethany.
Bethany, you
I grew
met?
up with lots of Bethany's in
Really?
Minneapolis.
That's a great
Yeah.
name.
Not a lot of people know a lot of Bethany's, so that's
This is
odd.
so
I don't
sweet.
know many.
First one, except for that book I read.
Right.
How about you, Melissa?
I'm just gonna enjoy this time off a little bit and forced vacation, staycation, and there's a lot of creative projects that I've been holding off on, and so now I'm like, okay, I have like this. Last night when I was about to go to bed, I was like, oh my god, and now I can do this, and now I can do this, and so I'm just gonna have to take it as.
It's weird
a
being
nice
home
time
on a
to be able
Friday
to
and
do what I've been
Saturday
wanting
night.
to do.
And do you have
That's
enough
true.
toilet paper?
I do. I have. We actually were able to stock
stocked up?
up. It was very. It was like. I think I usually buy toilet paper on sale without realizing it. So I got like 6 rolls for $14. That
You know,
was
if
really
everybody just shopped normally,
Yeah.
there wouldn't be a shortage.
People are
you know,
freaking
but,
out.
But they can't
Yeah.
seem
It's a
to be
panic.
normal.
Or learn efficient wiping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or use a bidet.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Don't just go out. And,
By the way, if you're taking vacations right now, a lot of millennials are going on vacation right now because of the plane
prices
tickets
are
are so
so
cheap.
cheap.
That's
You could
what
go
I
right
heard.
now to China for $600.
Wow.
Well,
Round trip?
Maybe
Yep.
not China.
all right, Roger, tell us what you want to tell us.
My film is called The Truth About Marriage, and the companion book, the same name, and you can find them both via my website, thetruithaboutmarriage.com. And I am excited to have finished this movie after 7 years. Yeah. I'm glad it's out finally. And maybe the next film will be The Truth About Gay Marriage.
I don't know if anybody's going to be interested in that.
I did like how you talked about the feminine and the masculine. I think it helps with every relationship,
Whether gay or straight.
yeah.
Gay relationships also, there's a feminine and a masculine. It
Exactly.
doesn't matter. We all need the same things.
That's
Yeah.
so true.
What if your next one's the truth about parenting?
balance of energies.
That's a good idea.
Parenting, that's
Yeah.
next.
Parenting, yeah.
So the nature of existence, is that out on platforms? Where is this?
Yes, that's everywhere. Amazon, my own Vimeo. I have got my own store where you can see it, and there's a 7-episode companion series that goes with The Nature of Existence if you really are into the topic of existentialism, which I was, and that's also a comedy. Imagine if you traveled the world and found a representative of every major religion and asked them, why do we exist? And then intercut all their answers.
That's really great.
It's pretty funny.
Wow.
Thank you for doing all that.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to meet
Redban,
you.
do you have anything you want to say, Redban, or promote or anything?
Well, as a lot of people know, the Comedy Store is closed. So Kill Tony, I don't know if it's announced yet, will be at the Ice House Monday, 8 o'clock. So we're going to be moving there. And we're going to have only 100 tickets, and we're going to be spacing the people out 7 feet or whatever it is. So check that out. And we'll return next week at a regular time for this podcast, Tuesdays.
So we'll be back on Tuesday with number 18, perhaps.
Yeah.
I want to thank all you guys and
Thank you,
gals
Brian.
for coming on this podcast. It really makes me happy when people can sit through the items of interest and not get too upset.
Not implode.
And the film was great. Watch the movie, and also the Freddie Soto documentary will be on July 26th at the Comedy Store.
If you like my film, write about it, post about it, tell your friends.
And stay safe, stay quarantined, and have a happy relationship. See you next time.
healthy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.